will continue to fail those it meant to protect. Speaker, we are appealing to the MEC and the department to deal decisively with all forms of harassment in schools. It is unacceptable that perpetrators are allowed to operate with impunity. Those responsible for abuse must face the full consequences of the law, including imprisonment and inclusion in the sexual offenders register. This requires a strengthened directorate, properly resourced and empowered to act swiftly and efficiently. It requires a political will, because without it, policies remain weight on paper. Speaker, the department must also address the challenges affecting educators in the early childhood development sector. We acknowledge the promises that the MEC raised today, but we are also saying promises must bear fruit. If we are serious about improving education outcomes, we must start at the foundation. Early childhood development is where cognitive, social, and emotional development begins. Yet educators in this sector continue to face uncertainty, inadequate support, and limited access to benefit. The gradual process that the MEC spoke to does not put bread on the table for those educators. This undermines the very foundation we claim to prioritize. Investment in ECD is not optional. It is one of the most effective ways to improve long-term educational outcomes. The department must ensure that these educators are properly supported, fairly compensated, and integrated into the broader education system. Honorable Speaker, at its core, the debate today is about the future of our children. It is about whether we are prepared to accept mediocrity or whether we will demand excellence, which we do. It's about whether this House will hold the department accountable or allow failures to continue unchecked. The Democratic Alliance believes that every child in the Free State deserves access to quality education, safe schools, and real opportunities. We believe that the public funds must be managed responsibly and that those who fail in their duties must be held accountable. Honorable Speaker, this budget in its current form does not inspire confidence that these objectives will achieve. We cannot continue to normalize dysfunction. We cannot accept a system where learners are left behind, where educators are unsupported, and where accountability is absent. The time for excuses has passed. The time for action is now. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable
Member Meko. Honorable Member Meko, I hope you are not going to ask for protection from me, because you are not going to ask for protection from me. Ofa chance ya bua o tla ntso ba o gola ka ofela o bakala. You are on your own.
Barata re qala Speaker ha ba felletse. The moment they are not sure what is it that they are going to say, they start these things. Speaker, thank you very much. The Premier of the Free State in absentia, Marena Esu, setjhaba se kgabane ka kakaretso. Speaker, it was 71 years ago when our people in South Africa, black and white, came together on the 25th and 26th, 1955 in Cape Town to declare that the doors of learning shall be open to all. Indeed, this was historic because it was a response by our people, not the ANC, led by the ANC, but our people, to the policy of apartheid Bantu education intended for Africans and blacks. The Freedom Charter was born 2 years later after Dr. Vervoerd introduced the Bantu education as a foresight and a clarion call to reject the subjugation of Africans and blacks as subhuman. It was the then Minister of Native Affairs, Dr. Vervoerd, the architect of apartheid, who stated when introducing the Education Act of 1953, there is no place for the Bantu in the European community. The act was to ensure that blacks would have only just enough education to work as unskilled laborers. Africans and blacks were told that they are not capable to do maths and science. MEC Mamiki, the ANC welcomes in particular the 53.3 million allocated for the maths and science and technology grant to invest for mathematics and physical sciences, where 100 schools will focus on the teaching of this subject in grade 8 and grade 9. This allocation and its sustenance attends to a root cause of the policy intended to exclude the black child, and this policy and allocation program becomes an equalizer. A redefinition of a black child to be equally capable and indeed can participate even in the digitally changing, globalizing world economy. A black child refusing to be condemned to be the hewers of water, MEC Zanele, and the collectors of wood. The ANC policy trajectory on education since 1994 has been directed to confront this agenda, perpetuated even up until today under the guise of many excuses. MEC Mamiki, in particular, the ANC welcomes the approach of transferring the earlier childhood from social development to the Department of Education as part of streamlining it as fit for purpose, and your focus in the registration of these new ACDs illustrated deep understanding of the philosophy of human development, education being at the center, which define that development. We agree, quality earlier learning is not optional, but a cornerstone of lifelong achievement. We recognize that a future-fit education system prepares children not only academically, but holistically, develops cognitive agility, adaptability, and resilience to complex things anchored on the progressive values espoused by the African nation. Values of Ubuntu. A child is a product of a community. Mutu ki mutu ka batho le molo makhelwane. A ngwana itu a rutwa mmetse, a tsebe hore o etsa mmetse in Africa, inculcated within that curriculum, is what has made Africans and blacks to navigate through the most of the difficult periods in humanity of apartheid, exclusion, and subjugation. We are saying, MEC Mamiki, that earlier child development is a genesis of our matric outcomes and a very important bedrock. And that's why the Free State has achieved so well in terms of matric results. It's not true that Rishaba matric results are fair. There has been a massive investment from earlier childhood development up until matric, because tumelo ya rona kore thupo kozwa intse ile metsi. The ANC argues that while within the cycle of free and quality education, 32 years under democracy, the ANC has achieved free education. Let's illustrate with two or 3 points. We have introduced a no-fee schools in public schools that do not charge mandatory tuition fees, designed to ensure free education for learners in low-income communities, and it is fully funded by government. When those who own the economy imposes hardships on them, the ANC government has always cushioned against all these structural problems we are arguing. It is not because they are lazy. To reinforce the objective of school nutrition program is to provide daily nutritious meals to combat malnutrition and enhance learning. It is proven that indeed it increases school attendance, as well improve cognitive abilities and foster healthy living. About 9 million kids from about 21,000 schools benefit from this program. In the Free State, MEC Mamiki, you did say that we have about 752 schools and about 551,000 young bana ba benefit from this thing. Botintswalo. Ke bona re ba builder from here up until the stage sa NSFAS mo ba tholang di bazari mahala teng. So ka tumelo ya rona gore e kentse le school transport. Ha re so ka re rauna mathata. Re mathata teng mara bona problem ya opposition. But la oppose for the sake of opposition. And that's why Mr. Mukonana ba bolela gore you are not opposing because you are doing your work of opposition. Opposition does not mean that you don't see good things. Your problem is that you oppose because it is a black child, it is black people who are benefiting from these things. So ra dumela hore a re kopanya le program ena ya di bazari tsa di university tsa rona. Re fitlheletse re qala ngwana le monyanyana ha ya sekolong re mo fe transporto re mo fe a hlape ka metsi a tshesang a kene transporteng a ye sekolong a fitla sekolong a thole dijo tsa mahala a rutwe mahala a khutlele hae ha fitla matric re mo fe NSFAS a pass a ye university. That is free education. If you argue against it, I don't know what is your understanding. Honorable Klute, the Afrikaners are part of this country. The ANC has long accepted. But in terms of the class and the liberation struggle, the honorable ANC were pursuing a liberation struggle to liberate anybody and everybody, including the whites who might be oppressed by their own beliefs of fearing the leadership of Africans and blacks. Our program seeks to even liberate them. Now it is their choice. Anglo-Boer War was not a class struggle. It was a struggle between the two people who were owning economic factors. Africans and blacks, but it is open. If you want to join the liberation struggle, which embraces each class character, you are welcome. We've got members of Communist Party in the South African Communist Party who are not opposed to this government and this country and its people. The problem is Afrikaner. You sleep with these ones who go to America and lie that there's white genocide in South Africa. Otherwise, we welcome them. The ANC has engaged the parties of the Afrikaners around the issues of the land. The minister is from your party today, appointed by the ANC. It means we're embracing everybody into the fold of the struggle to liberate our country and our people, black and white. Ntate Mokoena wa ngembarasa. La e bongolo tse speech, maka se bala literally o fitla mo. Se change hanyanyana, o bonzoro o kila ba teacher, o kila untate ya moholo, strateng sa modulang teng there's black poverty. Scars bala literally as they are because you are singing for your bread. You must develop courage to disagree, Honorable Jekyll Senor. Politically, you are wrong. The reality of this country is that we've got two nations. Thank you very much.
Honourable Member Pretorius. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Honor Member Dipoko.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Madume ho Morena Moholo, Morena Moholo, Morena Moroka, the dignitaries tohle tse teng kwano, baetapele ba EFF, Komisa Sanku, honorable members ke le dumedise, baahi bohle ba Freistata haholo ba Maokeng kwano dumela. Frans Fanon, ki utlwa motho e mong le mong a ema mona wa quote wale le nna ke iketse mothunyana a bohlale ke quote. Ore out of relative obscurity, each and every generation shall define its own mission, and they should either choose to pursue it or betray it. So as an EFF, we've chosen what you call generational mission ya rona e re bitsang ka hore ke economic freedom in our lifetime. And in its central tenet, economic freedom will never be realized unless there is freedom or education. And that's why we stand here today, letona horaya ntwena e o ibitsang tekanyetso ya di tšhelete tsa gago ka baka la mabaka ana a latelang. In its founding manifesto, the EFF has vowed that no economic freedom can be attained without offering free and decolonized education to all children of South Africa, particularly black children who come from the parents that have been oppressed, ke the system yana apartheid and benefited a few, which were white in particular. And today, education is a right cutting, and for it to be a right, it must be treated as such. In 32 years of democracy, our economy is not responding to the skills of our education system, or vice versa. Education system is not responding to the needs of the economy in South Africa. That's why initially you would get muta kan education system ya pele who would, maybe it was because a Bantu education was not that important, but those people were literate up to a point that they could even assist others in literacy, in reading for meaning. Now today we are struggling with even batho ba ilong hore ba qetile matric, they cannot be properly accepted by the needs of the economy. As a Free State, we rank number 2 in the country in relation to matriculation pass rate. However, we are still poor when it comes to quality of maths and science, let alone learners that choose that they want to pursue this subject as the subject of choices in grade 10. And the number is very low. And that's where we want to plead with you, the MEC and the department, together with the society of Free State, to hare lakaletseng bana re ba kgothaletseng ho etsa dithuto tsena tsa maths and science. Otherwise, next time when we receive skills from other provinces, we'll be the one complaining that re hira batho ba hlayang kantle. And to show how serious we are, MEC, maths literacy must be given enough attention that it deserves. Kwakwatsi mane, in Kwakwatsi Secondary School, grade 12, as I'm speaking to you, habana teacher ya maths literacy. So we started slowly to undermine these subjects. Now we are slowly going to maths literacy as well. Safety in schools is still a problem, MEC. Man in Tlakanipo Intermediate School in Harry Smith, ANC be sa khamone ya protest ba toitoya ba disrupta the classes over some issue that could have easily been discussed tafoleng ba tla to some consensus instead of disrupting thuto ya ngwana mothamotso. They come in kicking doors le manta ba yentse ntho, demanding that the principal must be expelled. For what good reason? If that is a disruption ya thuto ena o twinki EFFA etsa ha ile hantle mare re bona differently. Same people who say we are disrupting schools are the ones who are sending the members of the ANC to go disrupt schools there. We're worried about the ratio of teachers and learners in majority of schools in the Free State. In some schools you get a ratio of 1 to 60, even more, 1 to 70 children in one school, in one class. So this places a serious unfair burden on teachers, and as such, productivity afokotseya, bana ha ba utlwi. Even teachers cannot easily identify who has problems amongst bana because there are too many in one class. So MEC re mametsi bile ra o halalisela ha o bua ka inclusive education. But this inclusive education is a serious problem because it goes unmonitored. In one Heatherdale Secondary School, we found one partially blind child. Ke ngwana a nang le bothata ba o bonela haufinyana, o tlositswe mane mo no ke ba re timia teng, because ha ona teacher e rutang Afrikaans ba re timia. Ngwana no puo ya lapeng ke Afrikaans. Jwale o tlisitswe mona Heidedal sekolong sa bana bana ba palama di steps ha o tshintjwa diphiroto o palama steps o tlolea o tsamaya ha bone di steps. Now as such o qetella beilwe man in an isolated space. Why? Because ha ona teacher e kgonang ho ruta ngwanenwa. O kgona ho bala only dibuka tsa braille, ha kgona ho setelwa le di test because ha ona le motjhini o etsang braille. That thing is very serious and needs to be attended. Haibaning we're speaking of inclusive education. So we need to pay serious attention to such issues. Where there is this inclusive education, let's seriously monitor it closely. MEC. And I heard that you are placing attention at least to Tshehetso in Bothaville. That school in Ibilel Matata Mangata. We welcome that intervention, MEC. That school was built and not completed. I get out build a boys a complete tour. Hunto chinchua the contractor, a scholar on us fell in a quatenya or besu fedile, hal, but never remember Gana Scolomo. Babe way in some structures testing hantle money, say long or the end to fella for Nakwana or Bana, Bahono Rute. But as such, ha contractor it. But to ba mo le ditsotsi mo di a kena di utswa alles di utswa marulelo sekolo se I'm talking to you sine se sentse se tlotla se qetu ha se sana marulelo ha o sana di econo ke mathata fela le security so tse be uwe mo amongst them ke batho ba bomme be leng go tsotsi ya di fitla di tsama di ba lelekisa fela bosiu ba unarmed. Second thing ke go ba teng ha ona le di toilet. By the time they go relieve themselves kai collocation on duty. So we must place a serious attention to that. In Bergman School in Bloemfontein, I'm glad that MEC you are dealing with the main contractors. However, the problem with dealing with these main contractors, there is a lot here the subcontractors attached to them that are not taken into consideration. These subcontractors suffer daily because mosebetsi wa bona o dependile hore ba thole cash flow almost every day. So let's try and improve the businesses tsa batho ba borona ba batso. Udisa Technical School ra utlwa MEC o rihlile di kolo tsena tse ntho o di beile lihlo haholo re batla o jikisetse lihlo ka mane ka Udisa Technical School where bana ba shortang le material wa o etsa di special subjects such as woodwork and all of that. If this education system needs to respond to the needs of the economy, we must start with those technical subjects and re ba fe material enough. Re kopela bana free uniform, MEC. There are a lot of Maria Kane, but Waborna Babats by Troper, Babanke Mafutsana, can net rats, Barbone Bana, Batamamona Basana dieta. Some uniform Yabona, Habahonwile apparates, a disgrace, Wana Hakana Gatlassi, Hatwanile Baba, Wabona shame wheaty kilo, apparent to Yanazabatan, Mar the way said it tunze di fedile katek. And this is where the department needs to zoom in. Toilets in schools are a disgrace. Re bona mane batleng sekolo sa Sebotshabelo, re amoetse, into spread combined schools and some more schools. Tse ding tsa tsona ebile di a kwalwa ke Department ya Labor because of simple issue e twing ke infrastructural challenge e tswang ke di toilet. Ramoetso was expected to have been an ADCON, skolo sena so twing ke sa bonono kapa sa di arts. But as it stands, the parents had to protest in order for the school to be finished with the accreditation certificate, and the funding to this school remains indifferent. So despite the challenges that come with altering it to be an art school, but tingwa chelete kapa chelete ya bona e dula ntse le jwang. In Fontaine in Bethlehem, ntse re tonne mahlo, skolo ke sane, motho o patetse, motho o tsamaile, ntse le foundation fela, ntse re sena school. The less I talk about agricultural school, ya ini commode better. Because little more contractor repatwetswe tsamaile ha re qeta re setse ka infrastructure e san, and these are schools tse ka thusetsang who develop or ngwana ha qeta sekolo immediately again into the economy a thusetse economy ya rona. Itukisetse mbokamoso in Hop House ke mathata. There's a class more to about 54 learners banang le di learning challenges. Ba paketswe fela ka classing and help is not coming their way. They are in perpetual doom ya hore maphelo a bona might not change anytime soon. In fact, re ba yetsa hore ba be poor. If education can be used to change the lives of our people, let's start ka ba be re ba boneng ko Hop House. Learning and teaching materials dintse di deliverwa late, but at the same time they deliverwa di shorter. So we welcome the issue that MEC ekarobatla centralize atabena and distribution ya di learning and teaching materials. Let it be done soonest. And most schools are still unable to realize clean audit in relation to their financial allocations. Re kopa CFO lo ena MEC ke le shebe taba eo. Mecha balala mane qoqoma moganak akele re thusetse mmo le ke le buele MECs bo MEC sa kimono ke aka fumantshwe sekolo. Wane ha o tla mona ho thi sekolo ke sa marena, ha o tla mona ho thi ke sa public works, ha o tla mane ho thi ke sekolo sa lefapha ha re sa tsebe, and di class di petetsane. There's a serious need hore batho bana ba thusang ka private education ba fuwe space, but ultimately le bona ba monitor because ba bang ba etsa rata simonana ba fanang kana. Lastly, scholar transport must be given special entry because bana ba tsamaya ka maoto, especially Saturday mo dikolo di sa tlamehang ho kena mare di tla be di kene. Motho wa scholar transport o tla ba patetse ho fitlhela la bohlano. As such, ngwana o ntse tsamaya long distance because teacher o ba batla sekolong ka Saturday. Ka mantswe ao ra budget eno. Thank you very much.
Honourable Member Pretorius.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, and Dumelang Bome Lebo Ntate. Honourable Speaker, infrastructure delay and municipal collapse prejudice education excellence in the Free State. Without proper infrastructure, meaningful learning simply cannot take place. It is a foundation upon which dignity, stability, and opportunity for every learner in the Free State must be built. However, what we see across the province reflects a deeper crisis, one of systemic neglect, weak coordination, and a breakdown in governance that is actively undermining the very future of our learners. One of the clearest examples of these failures is the incomplete Tromsburg Special Needs School in Kopanong. This is not just another construction project that has fallen behind schedule. This is a facility intended to serve some of the most vulnerable learners in our province, learners who require specialized care, a structured environment, and proper resources to thrive. Yet years after its initiation, the special needs school in Tromsburg remains incomplete. Years later, learners are still waiting, families are still waiting, and educators are still waiting. The Democratic Alliance remains deeply concerned about the slow pace of completion of this project, because when a special needs school is delayed, there is not merely an administrative issue, it is a direct violation of dignity and a failure to uphold the rights of those who need support the most. Honourable Speaker, similarly, the case of the 89 million rand Oranje Krag hostel in Garibdam also holds a similar story. Despite being completed in December 2024, some 18 months later, it remains non-operational. This facility stands idle while learners continue to face accommodation challenges, long travel distances in Garib, and barriers to accessing education. At a time when resources are scarce and every rand must count, we have allowed a fully built hostel to the tune of 89 million rand to become a white elephant in Garib. This is a glaring example of poor planning, lack of accountability, and a disconnect between infrastructure delivery and actual service provision. A completed building that cannot be used is not a success, it is a failure. Honourable Speaker, the crisis we face goes beyond incomplete and unused infrastructure. Even where schools are standing and operational, the collapse of local government is now directly disrupting the learning environment of our children. In Muakari, for example, repeated water outages have had a directly disruptive impact on the learning environment of children. Teaching and learning is interrupted, sanitation becomes impossible, and learners are often sent home due to the water challenges being faced. The question we must ask is simple. How do we expect learners to succeed in an environment where basic services like water are not guaranteed daily? Education itself cannot function in a vacuum. It depends on reliable municipal services. And where those services fail, the consequences are felt immediately in our classrooms. The situation in Muakari and Kopanong local municipalities further illustrates this point. Here, the failure to collect refuse has led to the burning of waste in and around communities, including inside our schools. In towns like Forrysmith and Smithfield, this has created hazardous conditions for both learners and educators. Toxic smoke fills the air, posing serious health risks and creating an environment that is neither safe nor conducive to learning. This is the lived reality of local governance failures across our beloved Free State province. This is not theoretical. It is visible and is affecting the daily lives of our learners. Speaker, it is clear that education cannot be separated from local governance. We must be honest about what is happening across our province in our local municipalities. Education does not exist in isolation from the broader functioning of government. When municipalities fail to deliver water, sanitation, and refuse removal, schools cannot operate effectively. When infrastructure projects are delayed or left unused, learners are denied opportunities to grow and succeed. When there is no coordination between departments, the system as a whole begins to break down. The unfinished school in Tromsburg, the unused hostel in Garibdam, the water outages across our local municipalities, and the refuse crisis at several of our schools are not separate issues from education. They are interconnected symptoms of a deeper governance crisis which the Free State province faces. And Speaker, we cannot normalize this failure. What is most concerning is the lack of urgency with which these issues are being addressed. There is a growing sense that delays have become normalized, that inefficiency is tolerated, and that accountability is merely optional. This must not be the case, and this cannot continue. Our learners cannot afford a government that moves slowly while their futures are placed on hold. Every day that a school remains incomplete, every day that a hostel stands unused, and every day that basic services fail in local municipalities is a day lost of opportunity for our learners. Honourable Speaker, the Democratic Alliance believes that there is a better way. We believe that infrastructure projects must be properly planned, efficiently managed, and completed on time. We believe that public funds must result in facilities that are not only built fully operational and serving the intended purpose. We believe that coordination between provincial departments and local municipalities is essential and must be strengthened in this province. Most importantly, we believe that every learner has the right to a safe, a functional, and a dignified environment in which to learn, in which to play, and in which to socialize. The future of the Free State depends on the quality of education we provide today. That future cannot be built on incomplete projects, unused facilities, and failing local government. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Member Mbalula.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me greet members of the Executive Council, honorable members of this House, Morena Emuhulu, Morena Murimuhulu Mupedi, Chairperson of the House of Traditional and Cohesion Leaders, Morena Neo Mupedi, Deputy Chairperson of the House of Traditional Leaders and Cohesion Leaders, Khosi Khabulelu Moroka. Makhanslara a rona di meyara tse teng kwano ke a le dumedisa kaofela. Baahi ba Kroonstad, Vrystaat ka bophara re a le dumedisa. Ho na le dintlha tsa bohlokwa tse tlamehang re qale re di tlose tseleng. Honorable Diphoko o lla ka hore ho na le bana ba kebeng ba thuseha kapa ba sa thusing ba hlokang le dieta le di-uniform. Ke hloka fela ke hlalosetse setjhaba se teng kwano hore ditshebeletso tse ke ditshebeletso tse seng di leng teng tse mmuso o fanang ka tsona tlasa lefapha la social development, moo e leng hore di-social workers di sebedisana mmoho le dikolo tsa rona ba kgona ho etsa nthwena e ho thweng ke means test kapa ho checkwe ditlhoko tsa bana ba kang bana ba honorable Diphoko a buileng ka bona, mme ebe ba fumana dithuso. Jwale ha se hore ntho tsena ha di etswe empa ne re tlameha re be le ho hong hore o tjhong ha re eme moo. With regard to the issue, Honorable Mokoena buileng ka yona hore budget e ha e inspire. Ha re a makala ke hona ba bue ka mokgwa ona. Comrade Thabo Motmeko ba hlalosa hantle hore ha ba tlile moo ha hona le seo ba se ngolletswe fatshe ho ananela ditaba tsa bohlokwa le tse ntle tse etsahalang ho ba thata ho bona. Hoba ba choositse path ya hore the political strand of an opposition they are going to be. It's an opposition that will always stand here and say nothing and not be able to point out the good that are happening. Now, ha ne re teka ditekanyetso tsa lefapha la community safety, roads and transport, rile ra ya ha batsi mone re hlalosa di-programe kaofela tse re di etsang tshebedisano mmoho le sepolesa ho ka etsa bonnete ba hore dikolong tsa rona thuto ya bana e tswela pele tlasa maemo a sireletsehileng. Ke batla hape ke ananele le boteng ba marena a rona a mang e ke sa wa bitsang kwano le a ananelwa le lona ke le hlomphila holoholo Tlokwa Morena Muntwedi Mota ke a boka dikgomo. The story of education in South Africa is one of struggle, transformation and renewal. Education for a black child was deployed as a weapon to restrict our potential from a colonial order through the purposeful unfairness of the apartheid Bantu education. Now the MEC went to town in explaining the interventions that government is doing. In 1976, we saw the birth of the resistance seen in the Soweto uprising, a landmark event in which students themselves refused to accept being taught in Afrikaans and demanded dignity, equality, and future of learning as a means of self-actualization. Honorable Speaker, ever since democracy was introduced in 1994, the South African government, led by the African National Congress, has transformed the education system from a system of exclusion to one of accessibility and quality education. The rise of mass access to education has been one of the greatest accomplishments of this government. Today, millions of students from disadvantaged backgrounds have access to education under a regime of no-fee schools that have eliminated financial impediments to education for the poorest of the poor in the country. Today, most South Africa's public schools cater to the learners without fees, thus making poverty no longer a reason for exclusion. The development of early childhood development by the government is another significant development that acknowledges that learning starts long before there is formal schooling system. In the country, thousands of ECD centers have been registered and supported, and specialist training is increasing quality in early education. This strengthened the groundwork for literacy, numeracy, and long-term academic success. In the name of equity and redress, the state has intentionally prioritized historically disadvantaged schools as a focus of available resources, which covers but not limited to the following: the school nutrition programs feeding millions of learners every day, free scholar transport for learners in rural areas, and learning and teaching support materials. With these measures, as inputs to access and support for learning, education is accessible as well as the well-being retention of the learner. Honorable Speaker, the government also invests heavily in infrastructure development, as thousands of classrooms have been constructed. The unsafe buildings that some are talking about here have been replaced, and sanitation programs have been rolled out to restore dignity to schools. Now that South Africa has a unified national curriculum, the country continues to see excellence, with provinces such as the Free State being able to attain consistent success in high matric pass rate. Crucially, the divide between the traditionally advantaged and disadvantaged school is gradually narrowing. The government has prioritized the development of skills and digital transformation in its efforts to prepare learners for the future. The MEC elaborated on some of these. Through targeted programs, schools have integrated coding and robotics. Tablets and other digital devices have been provided. Technical and vocational subjects are broadened. I do not know what is not inspiring for the Honorable Mukwena there. And at the heart of that progress is the Maths, Science and Technology Grant, which has emerged as one of the key pillars of education reform. Through this grant, government has supplied science laboratories and mathematics resources to schools, trained teachers around gateway subjects, including mathematics and physical science, expanded student engagement in STEM topics, and those schemes around coding, robotics, and technical education pathways. Not only is this investment improving school outcomes on a larger scale, but it is also creating pathways for a generation of skillful and skilled learners who are ready for a modern, innovative economy we are producing. The Free State Department of Education continues to show how focused leadership and strategic investment can drive the real results. The province continues to be one of the top performing provinces in the country, achieving a strong pass rate of 89.3%, which has not been surpassed even by the current holders of position 1, the KZN. There is success being seen in township and rural schools through targeted interventions with higher bachelor pass rates and closing historic gaps in performance. The department has expanded access to digital learning, increased early childhood development, through registration and practitioner training at ECD centers, invested in learner support through the Second Chance program, now assisting over 6,000 learners. What is not encouraging there? Importantly, through the Maths and Science and Technology grant, resources have been devoted to advancing performance in key subjects, equipping schools, and building a pipeline of learners ready for a modern skills-driven economy. The school's nutrition program has expanded its reach by providing breakfast and lunch to learners. And these are indicators of a department that is changing the direction of education in the Free State. We must warn our people. I want now to turn to these people and unbundle them a little bit. We must now warn our people to be aware of false prophets masquerading as reformers. They are on my left here. Bana ki diphiri tse tlasa letlalo la nku. Now allow me to enlighten the House on what the Democratic Alliance has been contributing to our education sector and their so-called well-run DA government of the Western Cape. In 2004, the Democratic Alliance-led Western Cape government awarded a 1.2 billion tender to Blue Works Consortium to provide IT-related services for schools in the Western Cape. Not only did they illegally disqualify a company called Dimension Data, which had met all the requirements, but they also went as far as interfering with the tender documentation of other non-compliant bidders. Ke bana he diphiri tse ka tlasa letlalo la nku. Ke ketso tsa bona tse. In the same year, they also awarded a tender that is over 1 billion rand on a housing project in the city of Cape Town. And again, they fiddled with supply chain processes, but they never talk of these cases and how corrupt they are. Ke tsona he diphiri tlasa letlalo la nku. In the same year, the city of Cape Town added 30 million rand for a temporary roof structure to cater for a UFC event at DHL Stadium. And they claim that they are delivering something. In 2025, the SAPS conducted raids at 26 addresses, including business premises, municipal offices, and private residences as part of a large-scale operation investigating concerning contracts valued at approximately 1.6 billion. And the operation was initiated based on information received from a whistleblower who was concerned by how the DA ran municipalities, ran affairs, and how corruption went unpunished. Ke tsona diphiri tse ka tlasa letlalo la nku. But we cannot be surprised because they do not see a black person for nothing rather than employees and other wrong things. I indicated in the past, just after they being elected, when their leader went on stage, ignored a black leader with whom they were together elected in their recent conference. Now, they tried to metamorphosize themselves to be something relevant, but every time they get exposed, that all they want from blacks is their vote, but nothing else. How many DA leaders have been destroyed in South Africa? Every time they send them abroad and they say they are going to learn and study. That's how they destroy them. Honorable members, the budget vote presented by MEC Mabuya does not only give a clear direction that we need to take as a Free State, but it speaks directly to issues of redress and inclusion. And therefore, as the African National Congress, singoyiki, singena valo, siyaxhasa le budget ka MEC. Enkosi.
MEC.
Honorable Speaker, ke se ke ile ka isa ditumediso tsa ka moo di hlokahalang teng. E re ke nke monyetla ona o mphileng ona hore ke tsebe ho responda to the response that we received. A ke qale ka ho leboha Honorable Sfuba for reminding us that education must be used as an instrument for liberation. Indeed, I think this is what we tried to do through this budget vote. And you challenge us to engage in dialogical approaches whereby we understand that ha re le batho, ha hona motho a ownang knowledge. We are here to co-create knowledge and to come with better ways of dealing with issues. Ore challenge ile ibile ore quotela Paulo Freire, me o bua ka, even though you didn't say it, the banking model. Banking model mane mo e leng hore ngwana o na nkua e le an empty vessel. Me wa re ruta hore thuto yane ya bantu education mo re neng re nkua ke di empty vessels a esa sebetsa kgetlong lena. Ha ke makale ha ile hore bahanyetsi ba rona, of course ke mosebetsi wa bona hore hanyetsa le mo ba bonang dintho tse ntle teng ba keke ba di ananela. Honorable Mbalula, o ba fumane hantle batho ba rona ha hore ba tla mona ba sentse bana le dipotso. Mme le ha o ka ba wa kenya dintho tse ba tlo di botsa ka hara speech, they will still continue to raise them. When I listen to all the remarks or the debates by batho bana ba ka letsohong lena ho nna, kaofela ha bona, they are actually talking about the things that we have acknowledged, things that we have spoken about. Honorable Klute, o bua ka taba ya ECD. Not ECD. You spoke about the fact that every learner is supposed to be celebrated. And indeed, this is what you're doing. When you go to our well done function, you would notice that we do have quite a number of learners from other racial groups. So meaning that we do appreciate and celebrate every successful learner. The fact that we are talking about these particular schools which are in townships is because we are trying to demonstrate how transformative are we. We are redressing the injustices of the past because there was that deliberate movement to make sure that our learners are left behind. So we have adopted a slogan as the department, a strategic intent that says, we leave no child behind. So that's why you see us making reference to township schools in particular. And for the first time, at least you appreciated the introduction of the mother tongue-based multilingual education. And let me remind you that it is not something that has been introduced by the Minister of the DA. Hers was just to make sure that he follows the marching orders with regard to the introduction of this, lest you claim that victory. On the issue, Honorable Mukabela, in terms of responding to the findings of PELS and TIMS, yes, it is true that we will not necessarily have sufficient money to do that, but we have tried our best. That is why we even went the route of getting more partnerships for us to be able to really deal with issues of mathematics, science, as well as languages. If you were listening, you would have picked it up that most of our interventions here are related to the STEM subjects as well as to issues of reading. And with regard to school safety, which is something that you raised, School safety is a joint effort. All of us, I think it is our responsibility. It is not the responsibility of this department. It is not the responsibility of government alone. All of us will have to work hand in hand to make sure that we deal with issues of safety. Honorable Kharekwe, bohlokwa ba ECD cannot be overemphasized. Hore ho puditse fela hore ka nnete re tlameha hore le mabala a dipapadi a dikolong re a hlokomele hore a be teng, mme re a tshepisa hore ke ntho e re tla e beha ka sehloohong ha re bua le di-SGB, re bua le dikolo tsa rona. Honorable Mokwena, ha o tla mona ko dumedisa ke re ke itse ho wena Kwena ya Western Cape. O mpontshitse hantle hore your body is here, but your mind is in the Western Cape. Wa itebatsa hantle, o ka re ha o motho wa mona. You know for a fact that re inheritile a system and a serious structural challenges. You know very well. You know very well that Rona as the 7th administration, re boetse ra inherita department e leng hore it is not a going concern. But what we have been doing and what we have also been reporting to the portfolio committee would be the measures that we are taking to ensure that we try to close the gaps. We have been trying to do that. And the fact that you are saying we need to unlock opportunities for the majority of the Free State learners. I've indicated that we do have pro-poor policies that try to bring on board all the learners, of which majority are the ones who are benefiting from these pro-poor policies. And through that, we are also opening different pathways for learners to follow. You are not applauding the department for making sure that we diversify our offerings, because most of the time, our learners have been channeled into the academic stream. Now we are introducing other streams because we have since realized that bana ha ba fuwa ka o tshwana, bana ba ba fuwe ka di-skills ka mona. Now I've spoken about skills programs to show that we are trying to accommodate all learners so that re fane ka thuto e leng hore is relevant to the inclinations of different learners. How I bona taba eo ntate. Issue ya ECD. ECD, of course, you want to portray it as if we are not doing enough. Ki mmuso wa African National Congress, o ila decide hore ECD e tlohe social development ya Department ya Education. It was around 2021, precisely because we wanted to deal with the issue of quality, which is what we are raising here. So all these things that you are basically saying are the things that I've actually referred to. And you know that the budget challenges that we have are quite historical, and they are not new. And we are doing all means to make sure that we close those gaps. We dealt with issues of inefficiencies. That's why, amongst other things, finishing schools, because they were taking quite a big chunk of our budget. So that's why we went the route of making sure that we decentralize these centers, amongst other things, of course. And then, Ntate Pretorius, let me see. Issue ya infrastructure, we were more on the issue of infrastructure. And I did acknowledge in my speech that we do have challenges around infrastructure. But you are right, that does not mean that we should not do anything about it. You spoke about systems neglect of buildings, which is something that we said in our speech, to say that we have taken 50% of our budget from education infrastructure grant to direct it to these structures that need to be renovated. Some of them mean minor maintenance, refurbishment, and so on. So we are really doing well. Oranje Krag, we were just dealing with few issues there. Oranje Krag, I think we are addressing the issues there. Tronsbeck, We are busy sorting out issues with the Department of Public Works. We are having regular meetings, and very soon the programs will be resolved. Honorable Dipuko, I think Ntate Mbalula has responded to your issues. And Bella Act, remember, it also helps us to deal with incidents where schools are being disrupted. So we'll be making sure that we do that. Ke kgolwa hore ke batlile ke di akaretsa. If
Your time is up.
haeba hona le ntho tse ke sa di buang, ke nahana ke tla kopa bana ba ka letsohong lena ba tle ba etse di-written questions. Ke a leboha.
Thank you. The reply by the Honorable MEC concludes the debate on vote 6, education. The acting secretary shall read motion 2.
That the second reading debate on the appropriation bill B3 of 2026 be continued. Vote 8, cooperative governance and traditional affairs.
The vote before the House is vote 8, cooperative governance and traditional affairs. Honorable MEC Mokoena may now address the House for 40 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, the Premier of the Free State, members of the Executive Council, members of the Legislature, Mudula Stulo Wantuamara Namrana Neo Mupedi, Mutlatsa Mudula Stulo, Yantuamara Nakosi Muroka, Maranemo Holo Abakwena Bamupedi, Maranamremo Holo Muteva Mupedi, Maranemo Holo Abatokaba Mota, Marana Muntwedi Mota. Marana ohle atenza tsin lena ke boka dikgomo. The leadership of Salga, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, bontate le bomme dumelang. Speaker, today we present cooperative governance and traditional affairs budget vote to this House and the people of the Free State in general. The budget speech vote is not just a statement of budget estimates, but an outline of the policy options indicative of the work we must do to turn local government around. The Constitution of the Republic directs both national and provincial government by legislative and other measures that they must support and strengthen the capacity of municipalities to manage their own affairs, to exercise their powers and to perform their functions. We play a supportive role, regulatory as well as interventionist role, only when municipalities fail to execute their constitutional mandate. Contrary to the perceptions, municipalities are not branches of COGTA, but a sphere of government whose relationship with us is well defined in law and the general regulatory framework. Despite some occasional flares up here and there, the Free State local government is now experiencing increased administrative and political stability. That is a critical condition for sustained service delivery. President of the Republic in the State of the Nation address declared the year 2026 as the year of decisive action to fix local government. This call is more relevant to the province as municipalities continue to confront disruptions on the provision of some of the basic services that are compounded by challenges of bulk services infrastructure, where sewer leakages, water interruptions are a common occurrence. In response to this, the government has adopted a hands-on intervention approach with specific focus on administrative capacity, service delivery infrastructure, revenue enhancement measures, improving AG's outcome, and the general economic enhancement measures. Speaker, we have also invoked Section 139 interventions in those areas where service delivery is compromised and the local leadership is oblivious of the suffering inflicted upon our people. To date, we have invoked Section 139(1)B in Masilonyana, Nala, and Mketwani, where we have sent our teams with effective, decisive intervention powers. Mohokari, due to problematic conduct of our councillors, qualifies also for Section 139(1)B intervention. The provincial government can never fold arms where communities are subjected to collapse in service delivery, including provision of electricity. 2026 marks the end of the current term of councils, where elections of municipal leadership are now set to take place on the 4th of November this year. Government is working with IEC to prepare for elections. The Free State government will be working with various sectors of society to mobilize for improved voter turnout in these coming elections. We need our people to register and vote for councillors that must work for them to deliver services. Honorable Speaker, the department's budget allocation for 26-27 financial year amounts to 483.5 million, which represents a 6.2% increase from the 455.2 of last year. 183 is set aside to consolidate administrative capacity of the department, whilst traditional institutional management receives 75.3 million. This amount will not allow COCTA to fulfill the mandate of the new traditional handbook in terms of support for traditional leaders as they execute their work. A further engagement with the National Treasury and the Provincial Treasury is needed here. The Provincial House will receive 17.5 million to run its affairs. Speaker, COCTA will directly build places for the two principal traditional leaders, and an amount of 5 million has been set aside. A further 132 million of our budget is set aside for local governance support. From this allocation, we have set 22 million rand for municipal service delivery support. That includes Mafube, Malutia Pofung, and others. Additional 20 million is set aside in terms of Section 154 support additional 20 million is set aside in terms of Section 154 of municipal support program. Harip is included here. Development planning will receive 70.1 million, and this will allow us to support the water laboratory with 2.5 million, disaster with 10 million, cleaner city campaign receiving 5 million. We can report that we've already secured 5 emergency vehicles for the districts, and the process advanced to secure 2 new fire trucks for Malutia Pofu municipality, whose firefighting capacity is compromised. 2026 is declared as a year to fix local government. The economy work in line with, 2026 is declared as a year to fix local government and to make the economy work. In line with this clarion call, the department is determined to respond to the challenges that befall the local sphere of government in the Free State. To achieve improved appreciation of our roles as COCTA, it is important that we clarify our relationship to local government and explain the legislative expectations from us. Our relationship with municipalities is not based on some over-eagerness to usurp the powers and functions of municipalities. This is also not based on some uncontrollable sense of self-importance and desire to satisfy personal need for recognition. The Constitution of the Republic clearly states that in the Republic, the government is constituted as a national, provincial, and local spheres of government, which are distinctive, interdependent, and interrelated. Furthermore, the Constitution puts emphasis on cooperative governance, and the department is charged with the responsibility of being a single window of coordination of government affairs. Section 154 of the same Constitution goes further to place a responsibility on national and provincial governments to, by legislative and other measures, support and strengthen the capacity of municipalities to manage their own affairs, to exercise their powers, and to perform their constitutional functions. Mr. Speaker, the same Constitution in Section 1556 charges me in my capacity as the MEC responsible for local government with the responsibility to provide monitoring and support of local government in the province. This natural is required to be done without encroaching on the right of municipalities to manage their affairs. Section 139 of the Constitution makes provision for the relevant provincial executive to intervene in the affairs of the municipality where the municipality cannot or does not fulfill its obligations in terms of the Constitution or legislation. As illustrated above, as the department, we have 3 basic responsibilities towards local government, which is to support, to monitor, and to intervene where municipalities cannot perform their constitutional responsibilities. The intervention in municipalities is done for one and only purpose, to assist them to live up to their constitutional obligations. The recent State of Local Government report, which culminated into 12 out of 23 municipalities being identified as dysfunctional, is a matter of serious concern. The report demonstrates a situation in desperate need for intervention. This, Mr. Speaker, is a challenge that if we fail to respond, our people will forsake us. The State of Local Government report reflected the need to assist municipalities to improve their political, administrative, service delivery, and financial capabilities. One of the immediate challenges that is facing municipalities is the need to professionalize their operations. The municipal staff regulations promulgated in 2021 is a clear guideline towards professionalizing local government, ensuring that, amongst others, public office bearers' offices are staffed by competent and qualified officials. This is to ensure service delivery continues without any challenges. Local government is the sphere of government closest to the people, and the deployment of those responsible for this sphere must reflect that importance. Political parties equally have the responsibility to deploy those with capacity to lead these municipalities with full appreciation and understanding of the responsibilities at hand. We have intervened in those municipalities as identified as being unwilling or unable to fulfill their constitutional obligations. Like I said, we have invoked Section 1391B in Masilo, Nketwane, and Nala, where we assumed the responsibility for relevant obligations to the extent necessary to maintain essential national standards or meet established minimum standards for rendering of services. At the same time, we have also invoked Section 1395A and C in Tokologo, Machabeng, and Mafube municipalities, respectively, to impose the financial recovery plans. Speaker, the court have declared that Ngwate municipality should be dissolved in line with Section 1391C of the Constitution. As the department, we recognize the reality that the municipality has exercised its democratic right to appeal the decision. From where we are sitting, we will appreciate a situation where the matter is thoroughly engaged. We appreciate a situation, contrary to the dissolution, we prefer either a provincial or a national intervention to help the municipality to resolve its problems. Our view, which we will express in the courts, is strengthened by the reality that we are left with 6 months towards the local government elections. And by law, no elections may take place during this period. In Machabeng, the municipality that is under 1395A and C, in terms of financial recovery intervention as directed by the courts, the provincial government, together with the National Treasury, have finalized the recovery plan and put measures in place for implementation. Speaker, the municipality must fully cooperate with the intervention team, as persistent refusal leaves us with no option but to approach the courts for a harsher decision. The adopted financial recovery plan terms of implementation and protocols are clear on the role of the intervention team, and the political management committee, as now established, should be able to help us to get things right. In line with Section 154 of the Constitution, to help municipalities to pursue their mandate, we have provided administrative support to municipalities and improve their capacity through seconding personnel that is paid by the department. We have done this in municipalities like Wapanong, Mohokare, Letsemeng, Mafube, Malutiapofung, Mokaka, and Tsolope. We have further made financial support to municipalities, amongst others, to improve their financial systems and service delivery. To this end, 27 million has been made available to improve service delivery in the following municipalities: Mafube, Mohokare, Kopano, Nala, Tukologo, and Masilonyane. In Mafube, we have strengthened the administration with the secondment of the acting MM, the acting CFO, and the acting Director of Technical Services. Section 139 team has also been strengthened with the appointment of the lead ExCo rep. Mafube is a subject of our focus, and to this end, the MEC and the department had several engagements with the municipality on improving service delivery to address their challenges that they are faced with, and we have also set aside 12 million to help Mafube with the ability to perform its services. Whilst we applaud the performance of those municipalities that demonstrate improvement since the support provided, we, however, must mention our disappointment in some of who systematically find ways to undermine the support we provide. We must mention that despite the support we provided, Mohokare and Mokaka municipalities that seems to be resolved to undermine the support we provide. These are municipalities that one will identify as clear candidates for Section 139(1)B intervention. Speaker, in collaboration with the National Department of COGTA, Treasury, Provincial Treasury and other sectors, we have developed the municipal support intervention plans with focus to turn around the state of municipalities in the province. Municipalities are also directed to develop their turnaround plans in project management format with measurable, deliverable and deliverable timeframes. Speaker, Cabinet has identified and focused on, has identified 10 municipalities in the whole country that are dysfunctional. 3 of these municipalities are in the Free State, which are Mafube, Kwapanong and Malut. The National Department of COGTA has developed a municipal performance turnaround strategy for these municipalities. The implementation of MPTAS is monitored by the Interministerial Committee chaired by the Minister of the Department of Cooperative Governance. The amendment to the System Act in 2022 to make senior managers as identified in Section 56 was a conscious effort to stabilize and professionalize local government. The main objective is to ensure that the atmosphere in local government is professionalized with depoliticized senior management. In the beginning, the department experienced both the reluctance and resistance to adherence of recruitment regulations, but we are now encouraged that municipalities are beginning to appreciate their responsibilities, and there are signs that we are turning the corner with upward movement on the concurrencies we issue on the recruitment processes. To this end, Setsoto municipality has managed to fill the post of the CFO and the Community Services Director in line with the regulations, whilst Metsi Mahoden, despite the advice received, acted contrary to the regulations. In the next coming days, the department will exercise its options, including legal avenues, if no solution is found with the municipality here. The review of both the appointment regulations of senior managers and the performance regulations will be undertaken later this year. The province will have an opportunity to make inputs before final regulations are promulgated by the minister. The review must be undertaken to further strengthen the recruitment of capable, quality and professional managers our municipalities so badly need. As a result of the quest to professionalize the sector, we have ensured that only senior managers that meet all the competency requirements are appointed. The relationship between strong management and service delivery cannot be denied any longer. The Auditor General has given yet another negative verdict on the performance of the municipalities in our province, and it is not a good reflection. Yet the number of municipalities that have submitted their annual financial statements for consideration by the SG has improved. In 24-25 financial year, 2 municipalities and 1 municipal entity, namely Nala and Maluti Apofum, together with the Maluti Map Water, submitted their AFS after the deadline of the 31st of August. Whilst Nala requested to submit their statements a bit later because of instability in the institution, Maluti Apofum submitted their statements later to correct the recurring disclaimer audit opinions that they've been receiving for the previous 8 consecutive years. They showed a commitment to submit the AFS not only for malicious compliance, but to improve the audit record for the municipality. For the financial year 24-25, as the Free State, we do not even have a single municipality that has achieved a clean audit opinion. We have municipalities that have continuously received unqualified audit opinions, and they are thus challenged to improve their audit to clean audit. We are convinced that Arip, Lejwaleputswa, Fezile Dabi, and Thabo Mofutsana district municipalities, along with Tsolopile, Setsoto, and Pumelala municipalities, can improve their audit performance from unqualified to clean audit. Kwapanong has demonstrated that with the support provided by the department, the audit outcomes can be improved. Since Section 154 support in 2022, Kwapanong has continued to improve the performance, and the number of paragraphs on material irregularities has decreased considerably. Speaker, today we congratulate the Hlabe municipality for improving their audit performance from qualified to unqualified. We say to them, the challenge is to move from unqualified to clean audit opinion. It is doable. Maluti is awaiting the AG to finalize their audit report, and we are hoping for improved and reduced findings on the audit report paragraphs that should pull this municipality out of the disclaimer either now or in the next audit cycle. As part of the efforts to push the province towards clean audit, we have established a joint effort led by the Premier, COGTA and Treasury that works with the AG in the province. This team will work with identified municipalities to enforce audit action plans as adopted towards the clean audit. Speaker, the province through the department monitors and supports municipalities in the implementation of the local economic development plans with the aim of eliminating economic challenges and creating an enabling environment for local economic growth. The department assisted municipalities to develop and adopt the LED strategies. The aim of the LED strategies is to ensure that municipalities create an enabling environment that ensures economic growth. Through their LED strategies, municipalities are encouraged to use their available economic assets to attract investment and create jobs. Over the past 2 years, township spaza shops have drawn the attention of the country as there were reported cases of foodborne illnesses. The prevalence of illicit and non-compliant food represents a significant threat to the health, safety, and security of the country. Effectively, intervention measures were outlined, including those that relate to the local government sector. Municipalities are expected to register businesses, and the department, together with Distia and Salga, are playing an oversight role by monitoring the progress on the registration of businesses in municipalities. Promulgation of township economies bylaws is paramount to the success of all LED strategies. Currently, the challenge due to lack of township economies bylaws promulgation is evident that disproportionate number of business applications received and approved are from foreign nationals. The number indicates that the country and indeed municipalities in the province must strengthen and properly screen business applications and ensure that South African residents are prioritized. We call on municipalities to have standing council item on economic growth and regular reporting on approvals and rezoning that is required by many investors. Investment incentive schemes that involves rates reductions or waivers, use of municipal land and factories that are idling or deserted. Together with this tier, we will finalize a framework that will guide municipalities on economic growth in a focused manner. All local municipalities in the province have indigent policies, and the department has supported the development of credible indigent policies and monitored the implementation of both indigent policies and registers. This should be coupled with a clear communication strategy on the provision of the free basic services. Speaker, municipalities appear to be battling with sustained provision of services on areas of refuse removal, road maintenance, water and sewer spillages, including cleaner cities. As we put pressure and support for uninterrupted services, we must also be firm that our communities must pay for services. Municipalities are struggling because majority of our people are not paying for services. It costs money to treat water, it costs money to treat sewer, and yes, it costs money to maintain roads and close potholes. Baahi ba lokela ho patala ditshebeletso tsa bommasepala, metsi, ditsela, ho tloswa matlakala le ho hlwekisa dibaka tsa rona di hloka tjhelete. Bommasepala ba tshwere ka boima ha o sa lefe ditshebeletso. The culture of non-payment destroys bokgoni ba ho fana ka ditshebeletso. Municipalities must enforce payment of services, including taking action against those able to pay but are simply refusing. Ha o sa kgone ho lefa, ingodisetse ho ba karolo ya di-indigent registers. We can no longer allow the culture to continue as it destroys our municipalities. I'm happy that Treasury is now going to take money from those departments that are not paying municipalities. In the same vein, all councillors and MPLs and officials of government must pay and update their accounts. We must develop a mechanism to monitor and chase after those who are not paying. Speaker, CWP remains one of the strategic jobs creation program in government, and as implemented in the Free State, we have created 19,500 job opportunities. All municipalities have been provided with the cleaning and greening tools for the cleanest and the greenest municipality competition. Through visible service delivery strategy of Bekele Beke, we have delivered CWP working tools to the tune of 8 million rands. We have successfully coordinated the cleanest and the greenest municipality competition for 25-26 financial year, supported the creation of job opportunities through CWP, and established partnership by municipalities with different stakeholders to enhance the delivery of basic service deliveries. Spatial planning was used by the government of the past to entrench separate development. We, as the province, are committed to addressing these imbalances, assist in facilitating security of land tenure, create jobs opportunities, improve access to social amenities, and ensure that the quality of life of our people is enhanced. As a result, and as promised, in the previous financial year, there is speedy approval of developments in our municipalities. Provincial Spatial Development Framework was drafted, and various municipality spatial development frameworks drafted will continuously be implemented. I'm pleased to inform the House that all municipal planning tribunals in the province have been appointed and are fully functional. We will continue in the new financial year to provide the necessary resources for improving the functionality of the MPTs. As promised, we have appointed the Provincial Advisory Board that will assist in the facilitation of applications that have a provincial impact. We have also assisted the municipalities of Mokare, Tswelopele, and Phumelela to implement their special development frameworks as a critical planning tool that provides direction for the future development in the municipality. In this financial year, the department will support the special development framework implementation for Letsimeng, Mafube, and Tswelopele. We will also review Letsimeng and Maluti-Aphofung special development frameworks. In this financial year, the Free State Special Planning and Land Use Management Bill will also be enacted. This bill addresses special planning matters in the entirety of the province. Speaker, will continue to capacitate municipalities and traditional leaders on spatial planning and land use management to ensure that development applications are attended to timeously, supports land use management and assist with the provision and maintenance of geographical information systems and ensure that PTs have regular meetings. Disaster management remains a critical enabler in building a capable, resilient, and developmental state. We now have got an increasing frequency and intensity of disasters, ranging from floods, fell fires, and severe storms that continue to expose systematic weaknesses within local government. Municipalities are at the forefront of disaster response. However, persistent institutional capacity, inadequate planning, aging infrastructure, and non-compliance with legislative frameworks continue to undermine their ability to manage disaster effectively. In response to national and provincial call for decisive action to fix local government, the department, through the Provincial Disaster Management Center, will implement a focused, results-driven program to strengthen municipal disaster management capabilities and reduce the related risks. To strengthen institutional capacity, the department will, in the 26-27 financial year, intensify support to municipalities to ensure compliance. And amongst this, it will include supporting municipalities to establish fully and operational disaster management centers, appointment and capacitation of dedicated disaster management focal persons, technical support to review, align and ensure that council does adopt disaster management plans, strengthen governance through the provincial disaster management. Speaker, building a capable and professional disaster management system, we must undertake the following. 1, targeted training and capacity building, support municipalities to align their operation with national standards, strengthen incident command systems and as well as joint operation center functionalities, participation in the national and international training forums, including specialized programs such as urban search and rescue training. In addition, we'll implement enhanced disaster risk reduction and climate resilience, strengthen fire services and emergency services response capability that is necessary for us to mitigate the challenges we are seeing. Municipal infrastructure grant continue to contribute to the municipal service delivery in the province. During the 25-26 municipal financial year, an amount of 784.5 million was allocated towards the MIG grant. An amount of 336.4 million, which is 43% from the total allocation, was spent by the 30th December 2025. A further amount of 4.9 million of the total approved in 24-25 rollover of 39 million was spent by 31 December. The amount was spent by municipalities on the following infrastructure services: water 23%, sanitation 30%, roads and stormwater 28%, support and recreation 9%, project management 5%, high mass lights 2%, specialized vehicles 2%, others such as solid waste and disposal and cemeteries 1%. The MIG allocated has an allocated amount of 949.4 million towards the implementation of municipal infrastructure projects within the 18 receiving municipalities for the 26-27 financial year. According to the MIG implementation plans received from 18 municipalities, It is envisaged that the grant will spend on the following: water, it will be 29%, sanitation, 28%, roads and stormwater, 24%, sports and recreation, 8%, project management, 5%, solid waste disposal, 3%, specialized vehicle, 2%, sidewalks and cemeteries, 1%. It is further envisaged that an estimated 2,500 jobs opportunities will be created. Through Val Central, wastewater treatment plants in Machabeng and Maluta Pofung are receiving due attention in the current financial year. This is part of the ministerial intervention to support municipalities to improve on their service delivery mandate. Bucket eradication is also being implemented by the Department of Water and Sanitation in the municipalities of Nketwana, Setsoto, and Tukuluku. As a province, we face a backlog of 163,000 non-flushable sanitation that we need to eradicate. This was placed firmly on the agenda during the National Cabinet visit to the province, and further engagement with the Treasury, Department of Water and Sanitation, and National COGTA will follow soon. Speaker, forthcoming elections. The forthcoming local government elections require Department to promulgate Section 12 notices, which will determine the size and format of municipalities across the province. The size and form of municipalities will have to take into cognizance the will of the electorate and should be able to reflect participatory democracy. Our preparations must anticipate the possibilities of our municipalities that will require coalitions. We therefore intend to ensure that the will of the electorate is adequately reflected through these Section 12 notices. We will also engage in consultations with the Municipal Demarcation Board as mandated by Section 85 of the Municipal Structures Act regarding the initiation of a process to amend the current division of functions and powers between the district and local municipalities. In further preparation for 26 local government elections, the department will provide several support initiatives aimed at assisting municipalities. These initiatives are intended to ensure that municipal managers, councillors are adequately prepared to perform their duties and conduct the procedures of the first council meetings effectively. As we manage transition, we must deal with the redetermination of municipal boundaries, including transitional measures, as duly enjoined to do so by legislation. All municipalities, without exception, are to prepare and table handover reports by no later than the 15th September 2026 to enable the incoming councils to have reports on the 5-year performance report. Additional measures will include the training packages where municipal managers will receive comprehensive guidance on how to conduct inaugural meetings. Additionally, the department will attend and monitor all first council meetings to offer guidance and support as required. As we navigate the complexities, Speaker, of community engagement, let us leverage on the Municipal Systems Act provisions to develop robust process for handling concerns and complaints. By doing so, we will build trust to address issues that are confronting our communities. Like I said, we will prioritize word-based education programs to raise awareness and encourage participation in the elections process. We will also be triggering the processes to work on the formation of the new ward committees that are required by law, that they must be established within 24 weeks after the elections. The department is working with the National COGTA. The department, working with National COGTA, has stepped up efforts to improve conditions of service and support provided to traditional leaders. For quite some time, the country had no clear framework for enabling government comprehensive support to traditional leaders. Today, we can indicate that the Handbook for Traditional Leaders provides a comprehensive legal basis that outlines how support is undertaken in terms of residences, security for traditional leaders, traditional council office accommodation, and vehicles. Speaker, we are happy to report that we finally managed to secure 2 decent vehicles for the 2 principal traditional leaders in the province. There is a new storm raging in the province where we see mushrooming of fake and illegal traditional leaders. My office is inundated with correspondences addressed to different municipalities by these fake persons masquerading as traditional leaders seeking recognition and resource from municipalities. I wish to state it categorically clear. It is only the Premier and the President that has the power and the authority to recognize traditional leaders. Any person claiming to be a traditional leader must showcase his traditional leadership status by producing a recognition certificate either from the Premier or the President. Customary initiation is practiced by many people in our province. The customary initiation safe practice is critical in ensuring the preservation of this culture and the lives of our people. It is, however, concerning that despite strict oversight by government and other stakeholders, this age-old cultural practice is met with challenges such as commercialization, unregistered schools, unregistered traditional sessions or caregivers, which leads to frequent injuries or deaths. In recent summer school, there were 13,187 initiates in registered schools, 154 in illegal schools, 30 initiates died at different schools during this season. We cannot allow initiation school practitioners to turn customary initiation practice into a culture that is killing our people. We have to respond to this, establish a partnership with the CAF SETA to train young people, unemployed graduates, and customary initiates. We have partnered with the CAF SETA to train young unemployed graduates, customary initiation practitioners in hotspots areas to help to preserve the lives of our people as we want them to go and come back. We want them to come back alive, and we have to make sure as government that we deal with all the problems that are associated with the illegal schools. Speaker, as we conclude, the work to reposition municipalities in the province requires political will and buy-in from all stakeholders if we are to move faster and consolidate service delivery. This is a key requirement for both the distressed and dysfunctional municipalities as experienced in the province. Today, we have a basket of consolidated intervention measures between both national cabinet as well as the provincial executive council. These are indicated by the interministerial cluster on local government where we participate as the province, and this has enabled the national cabinet to receive reports and make regular decisions on all issues facing local government. The Free State cannot slack behind as the cabinet has the legal right to intervene if we refuse to act. Our efforts are consolidated and municipalities are responding, except for a few, and in the next few months, we will begin to see the results as the AG's reports begin to indicate that despite the general slow progress, we do have upward movement with a reduction on finding paragraphs as in the Hlabeng upward movement and as well as Mapuve improvements on the internal controls. We have also achieved political and administrative stability in the majority of municipalities, and Mohokare should be stabilized in the next coming few days. We are working with the Department of Water and Sanitation to stabilize the treatment plants in many areas, improving on the MIG performance and the functionality of key oversight committees such as MPECs and audit committees. Our work is cut out and we dare not fail. Finally, let me express my gratitude to the Kokta HOD, the Deramagarane and the senior management for the hard work undertaken. Thanks to my office, as led by the head of office, for allowing the necessary support for me to perform my job. The municipal leadership that serves our people despite the daily difficulties confronted. We appreciate the role of SALGA for the support provided to municipalities and the impact they make within our space. Lastly, my organization, the ANC, for understanding that our work here is about our people and nothing else. The Premier of the province, Melitsua, and members of the Executive Council. Finally, let me thank my family, the kids, and the beloved partner for both support and understanding of the very demanding schedule in terms of the work we do. As we said, Speaker, no retreat, no surrender. We shall never tire to serve our people. Thank you.
Thank you, MEC Mokoena. We proceed to the debate on Honorable MEC's presentation of the budget vote of the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. I shall now call upon Honorable MEC Rockman to commence the debate for 14 minutes. Whilst the MEC is approaching the stand, let's request the legislature ushers to help us with the movement so that it doesn't disturb the proceeding of the House. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable members of the legislature, our traditional leadership and our local government leadership as well. Allow me to pay tribute to two remarkable leaders that we have lost over the last few days, namely Mr. Sam Moghobo, Chief Director in Education, and Dr. Pule Machwa, who has been one of our renowned veterans, whose contribution to the struggle for freedom and democracy transcended our national borders. We extend our condolences to the extended families, friends, comrades and colleagues. May their souls rest in peace. We appreciate the presentation of the budget speech of the Honourable MEC, which reflects a frank and honest assessment of the challenges faced by this portfolio. Allow me to reiterate some of the points we raised in the budget vote debate of Provincial Treasury, particularly with regard to recalibrating the LGS formula to reflect actual institutional and community service costs, the real decline in municipal transfers 18% since 2016, and the rising cost of basic services, and the unfunded mandates in respect of library services, public health, fire services, disaster response, as well as the housing accreditation functions. These matters impact directly and indirectly on the monitoring, support and intervention mandate of COGTA. And allow me to briefly reflect on just a few key issues relating to the budget vote before the House. On improving service delivery, the Honourable MEC emphasised the Department's role to monitor, support and/or intervene in municipalities where a municipality cannot or does not fulfil an executive obligation in terms of the Constitution or legislation. Support and capacity building initiatives in terms of Section 154 and interventions in terms of Section 139 have been implemented in various municipalities. Given the scope and extent of challenges, these initiatives may take longer to achieve progress. But in the Kopanong local municipality, the response has been overwhelmingly positive to the support and capacity building initiatives of COGTA and other stakeholders. Once a municipality known for its inability to consistently remunerate its employees, stability has been achieved, and for the last 17 months, Kopanong has consistently met its monthly salary obligations. It has formalized payment plans with pension funds and SARS and ensured that they meet those commitments. Revenue collection has improved over the last few months from October from 6% to approximately 35% in February. As a result also of various initiatives implemented by both the municipality, treasury, as well as provincial and national COGTA. Kopanong has also started investing in fleet to improve its basic service delivery capacity. It has divided the 9 towns of Kopanong into groups of 3, and the first group of Philippolis, Jagersfontein and Forrie Smith have already received a compacted truck and TLB. The next group of Tromsburg, Ehrenburg and Reddersburg have already received a TLB and will receive a compacted truck later this week. And the last group of Gariepdam, Betuli and Springfontein will receive a compacted truck in June, and in July a TLB will be delivered. And all 3 groups will be provided with hydrojet machines for sewer unblocking. Kopanong has also prioritized its response to directives issued by DWS. The Gariepdam refurbishment of the Gariepdam wastewater treatment plant has been completed, and the upgrading of wastewater treatment plant and pump station in Edinburgh is at 90%. Other projects that are at implementation stage include the construction of the 3-kilometer pipeline and the refurbishment of a pump station in Tromsburg, as well as the construction of a 2.5-kilometer pipeline and reservoir refurbishment in Betuli. This is a municipality at work. We also see progress in the Tokologo local municipality, where Section 139(5) A and C intervention was implemented. In Boshoff Seretse, stormwater flooding in Seretse has been addressed through a MIG project, and the municipality eradicated 300 bucket toilets, the remainder of formally recorded bucket sanitary services in Boshoff Seretse and Karreehof. In Herzogsville, the municipality is in the process of refurbishing a water treatment plant which will ensure that the community of Herzogsville receives both quality and uninterrupted water supply. Water meters are also being installed, and this will support revenue collection and improve management of the free 5 kiloliter provision of water to indigent households. In Deelsville, the municipality, together with DWS, has completed 2 sewer pump stations. The municipality has also made significant strides in strengthening its internal capacity. Revenue collection has improved and all senior management has been filled. The Ngwati local municipality has also made significant progress with the implementation of infrastructure projects specifically related...
Honorable MSc, we beg for your indulgence. It looks like nature is disrupting the proceedings. Very little that we can do, except that members are advised to put the gadgets provided. If you don't want the translation, if you do it straight, the MEC is captured on the gadget. Very unfortunate for our guest, but the IT has been convened to come and intervene. Thank you very much, Honorable El Sabi. We can proceed.
Honorable Chair, I must just draw your attention to the fact that the roof is leaking.
I can't even hear you.
Let us continue. The Ngwati local municipality has also made significant progress. For example, the construction of the 5-kilometer line from Parys main substation to Parys water treatment works is complete. The replacement of a water asbestos pipe in Parys is at 98%. The refurbishment of the old Parys water treatment works is at 85%. To Mahole, the refurbishment of the Mosepedi Hall for sporting purposes is at 98%. In Kwakwatsi, the bulk water pipeline upgrade is at 99%. There's also a bulk water pipeline from Koppies to Edenville at 95%, and boreholes in Vredefort is at 95%. Ngwati is also one of the municipalities who have invested in fleet and have provided 4 compacted trucks to the 4 towns of the municipality. We have also seen progress in Tswelopele, who has settled their debt with the Free State Fleet Management trading entity known as the Government Garage dating back to 2011. But not all interventions have yielded expected progress. The Mangaung Metro was placed under Section 139(7) of the Constitution. This was an escalation of an earlier intervention, which is essentially now a mandatory financial recovery process. National Cabinet is the current overseer of this intervention, with the National Department of Kokta managing the process. National Cabinet reps were withdrawn as progress was made by the municipality, particularly with the appointment of senior management. However, progress has not been sufficient as Mangaung is still deemed to be in the first phase of the intervention, which is the rescue phase, instead of having progress to stabilization. The recent report of the AG shows a decline in the financial performance of the metro, and this calls for an escalation of the intervention. The lack of accountability and consequence management for those responsible for allowing the financial performance of the municipality to deteriorate can simply not be tolerated. The Maluti Apafung, Setsoto, Nala and Ngwati municipalities have invested in fleet to improve service delivery. In the last few months, Maluti Apafung has procured 2x10-ton crane trucks, 4 long wheelbase trucks, 3 TLBs and 6 bakkies. Setsoto's investment in fleet resulted in the procurement of 4x refuse compacted trucks, 5 TLBs, a low bed trailer, an excavator and 10 bakkies. The Setsoto municipality has also successfully completed 8 high-mast lights in Shlohlowani, Mekeleng, Momaneng and Matwabeng, and the public lighting across all towns in the municipality enhances community safety. The Nala municipality purchased a compactor truck, and outstanding matters around the 2 tipper trucks have been resolved, and they are now back at the municipality. Many Free State municipalities have also received recognition for their performance in various fields. Metsimaholo was named the best performing municipality in the Free State at the National Municipal Excellence Awards held in October 2025. Like I mentioned in the previous budget debate, Tswelopele was named the cleanest municipality in the Free State, and Masilonyana the most improved management and operation of landfill sites at the 2026 National Waste Management Goro. We look forward to the announcement of the winners of the 25-26 Cleanest and Greenest Municipality competition. Honourable Chairperson, we support the continued implementation of the Community Works Programme targeting the poorest individuals and or households. The programme is an important component of our National Development Plan. The primary objective of the programme is to provide a safety net through access to a minimal level of regular work, that is 2 days per week at 100 days a year. The secondary objective is to skill participants, optimize outputs, equip them with the skills and enhance their employability and self-employment prospects. The program has 4 sectors, namely agriculture, environment, education and health. The CWP program is located within the municipal space. It is expected that municipalities will also support the implementation of the program. We acknowledge the assistance of the department to provide environment cleaning and greening tools. These tools will be utilized by the CWP participants and ensure that their work contribution is productive and effective. And we urge the department and municipalities to further upscale the provision of these enabling tools. Activities under the CWP include that they have contributed to the establishment and maintenance of food gardens in clinics, schools and other communal spaces. In some areas such as Mangaung, offtake agreements with the private sector have successfully been concluded. They continuously assist with the planting of trees as part of the Million Tree program in various localities. They are involved in recycling projects as facilitated by other stakeholders in partnership with municipalities, and this happens particularly in Fizeli Derby. Activities such as trimming of trees in public spaces, cleaning of overgrowth in cemeteries, general maintenance of parks and beautification projects, particularly at town entrances, have been observed. The cleaning and sweeping of streets, pavements and precincts of government buildings have improved in most municipalities. Chairperson, there is no doubt that the local government sphere is not an easy space to be in. But despite the challenges, the commitment of our leadership, the hard work and the constant interaction and engagement with our communities is defining what we want local government to be. We support the budget vote as tabled. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair of Chairs. The budget vote reflects, it's not a developmental state action, but a systematical maintenance development where administrative overheads takes priority over tangible outcome in communities. With the total budget allocation of 447,914 in 2025-2026 financial year, which has increased with plus 7% from previous year. I will not go through the breakdown. However, we have noted a larger allocation of 182 million allocation on administration. The central question before this House is not whether the funding has increased or decreased, but is whether this budget is capable of producing meaningful change on the ground. Because of this, reality is that we are not facing the funding crisis, but we are rather facing a governance that has no capacity and which is in crisis. The key observation thereof is that the budget overview between the scale and versus the structure is that administration takes up a disproportionate amount of budget, which raises questions about insufficient budget. Instead of budget reflecting the service delivery model, it represents a system that maintains the model that does not assist our communities. Tsamaiso ya dipuisano. Hara masepala tse 23, di masepala tse 12 di hlouwe jwale ka di masepala tse 12 di hlouwe jwale ka di masepala tse putlameng tse leng ka hara manyofonyofo a ditjhelete tse leng hore ha di thole le di clean audit. Mme seo re kekebe ra ba ra se dumella. Ha o tloha ho tsa water and sanitation, there's a serious water and sanitation, there's a serious scenario. Make it like a mohlala fela. Ke re mane Velko mo Thabong. Batho ba nyeunya, matlo a bona a nyeunya ka hara mantle le di kgwere tse phallang diterateng tsa bona. Hona le ntate mo Thabong a bitswang Ntate Chaka Mahlonoko, e leng hore ntlo ya hae ha e sa le Ntate Chaka Mahlonoko, e leng hore ntlo ya hae ha e sa le nyeunya ka hara mantle e se le dikgwedi jwale a sa fumane thuso le ho tswa mmusong. 2010 mane ha pula e nele jwale ka ena tje ke mathata fela baahi ha hona di tsona ba tlo bona ba bona le nyetso tsa tjhelete empa ha hantle ka hore re bue ka tsona re lise professional.
Honorable Klute.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. Thank you, Chair of Chairs. This needs to be said, and I think many will agree. To the and the municipality, the roads in Kroonstad are despicable. And no, the rain is not the reason for the terrible state of your roads. Years of poor planning, budgeting, underspending, and a general indifference is. The reality is, all towns in the Free State looks like this. In his book, The Republic, Plato writes about the shepherd Gyges, who discovers a ring, and when he turns the ring on his finger, he becomes invisible. And once he realizes nobody can see him or hold him accountable, he begins breaking rules he would previously have obeyed. So he sneaks into the palace, seduces the queen, murders the king, and seizes power for himself since his power was unchecked. Plato's story raises an important question. If people could act without consequences, would they still be just? Nou vir die afgelope 30 jaar regeer die ANC asof hulle hierdie ring van mag dra, sonder verantwoording en sonder enige gevolge. En soos met Gyges, het die ANC begin met klein oortredings. Ooggeefverslae van Vrystaatse munisipaliteite die afgelope dekades wriemel van sogenaamde klein oortredings. Een wet op die ander word gebreek. Munisipale bestuurders word nie aanspreeklik gehou nie. ANC-rade kondoneer dit en die volgende jaar gebeur dit net weer. En so ploeter dit voort tot waar ons vandag is. Ongewenste uitgawes word nie ondersoek nie. Verhogings vir munisipale bestuurders en amptenare word goedgekeur terwyl dienste nie bestaan nie. Inwoners betaal meer vir water, meer vir krag en meer vir vullisverwydering terwyl hierdie dienste of nie bestaan nie of nou en dan gelewer word. Toelaas wat vir arm mense bedoel word, bly onbestee en word uiteindelik verbeur. Chair of Chairs, I'm reminded of the proverb that says, fools despise wisdom and instruction. As we sit here today, almost half of Free State municipalities are under intervention. The MEC listed a few. Not even the 132 million for local governance in this budget will fix this, MEC. And we've heard the excuses, and it will be there again. Apartheid and special planning, how the division of revenue model is affecting the province, etc. In fact, as we speak, Mangaung Metro is appearing before National SCOPA on its audit outcomes and investigations. Only 58% of the recovery plan's activities have been implemented within the municipality. Although conditional grants increased, the Metro underspends 191 million rand in one financial year. And as a result of this, National Treasury withholds money to the amount of 140 million rand in funding. Speaker, elke munisipaliteit in die provinsie het sy inwoners misluk. Nou, Plato sê nie uiteindelik wat gebeur met gauges nie. Maar die verhaal wel wys is wat sal gebeur as daar nie oorsig is nie. Nooit weer mag die ANC toegelaat word om mag so te misbruik nie. Die tyd het aangebreek dat ons mense vanjaar by die stembus hulle dorpe en stede terugneem. Baie dankie.
Honorable member, your time is up. Honorable Squavela.
Honorable Chairs of Chairs, Honorable Acting Premier of the Free State, Jabu Mbalula, members of the Executive, House of Traditional Leaders, and mayors present, Sechaba Samokhaga, Safezileta, Abisa Free State, Dumela. The budget by the MEC, it reflects a constitutional responsibility to build a capable, accountable, and a developmental local government that delivers services to our people and strengthens local governance. So I just want, before Honorable Chairs of Chairs, must just run a very quick revision class for Honorable Klute, because the MC spoke about these things. What is the department and what local government of spheres? Local government is a sphere or different spheres of government. The Department of Cogta, it is not a municipality. It is a department which has a constitutional obligation enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic. And one of those obligations is Section 154, one that the department must intervene and support and strengthen the capacity of municipalities. One of the section as well is Section 155, that mandates the department to monitor and support the local government to promote the development of local government capacity. One of the important sections for this department, it is Section 139, which is the provincial interventions where the municipalities fail to execute their responsibilities. So COGTA, it is not a local council or a local municipality. It is a department of COGTA, and within the Constitution, these are the responsibilities that it carries. And this budget, honorable members, gives practical expression to these constitutional obligations. Across the Free State, we have witnessed targeted interventions by the Department of Culture, aiming for two things. One, to stabilize, two, to improve the performance of the municipalities. And in most cases, these interventions, they would include what we call the financial recovery plans for distressed municipalities, the deployment of technical support team, and strengthening governance and oversight structures, as the MEC has spoken about, the MPECs. And it is important for everyone to understand such interventions are not punitive, but they are corrective and supportive. But they are aimed at restoring functionality, rebuilding capacity, ensuring that municipalities are able to deliver basic services such as your water, sanitation, roads, and refuse removal. So, chairs of chairs, it is the current situation. It is important we understand the current situation, not to only hammer at the municipalities. Because the current municipalities, if you look at their budget, 60% of what becomes their budget, it must be revenue collection. It means that 40% of that, it comes in a form of grants. And what we must look at this situation of the Free State objectively to say that the current funding model for local government does not work, because a municipality or a rural municipality or a municipality that does not have high intensive users of water, electricity would not have so much money in terms of revenue collection, because most of our people are not working and most of our people are on an indigent register. So if 60% of your budget comes from sources of revenue such as your water, refuse removal and electricity, you are not going to be sustainable. Henceforth, now the ANC-led government, we have started what we call a white paper on the local government, which presents an opportunity to strengthen our local system of local governance. The review itself, what it means that local government models, we understand that it faces the challenges. And those challenges is your financial constraints, the governance resources, and the capacity limitations. So what are the four things at least this white paper does? Is to say that a municipality like Machabe, it cannot be funded like municipality in Pumelela, because those are two different municipalities in terms of their sources of revenue, which I spoke that 60% of the budget comes from there. It's completely different. So it means that municipalities, they have varying capacities, and the budgeting of them and how they must be looked differently. Other municipalities has a few, so you can't use a one size fits all. They have to be different approaches or different funding for different municipalities according to their needs and demands. Two, is strengthen the financial sustainability, focusing on the reforms to improve the revenue generation that we spoke about and the financial management. Three, it professionalizes local government and the leadership and administration, that they must be skilled and they must be competent. Four, it promotes greater accountability and consequence management. I think the honorable member did not read or is not following or reading the review of the white paper on local government. If he still speaks about the lack of consequence management and accountability, there is a mechanism that is being put in place by government to ensure that we are able to, there's consequence and greater accountability. So the budget by the MEC aligns with these reforms by prioritizing support, oversight, and capacity building. We must also acknowledge that these improvements that are highlighted by the Auditor General in relation to the municipality of the Free State. Of course, as the ANC, we accept that there are challenges, and one of those challenges that we have said is that we must review the model of funding for local government. But also, in those challenges, there are positive development that the MEC has touched them. One of those that I think the percentage has increased to 89% of municipalities that submit their financial reports on time. And what we have done at the level of the committee, Honorable Klut, if you remember, we have segmented different municipalities from the municipalities that they are able, that there's a future of their performance looks good. Those municipalities that are struggling, that we have clustered according in terms of what should the Department of COGTA focus on to. Perhaps it's something that you should have told, you should tell the people that we have agreed in terms of categorizing all the municipalities in the Free State. Those that stands a chance to improve, those that are improving, those that need a little push up to better perform. But these improvements that we see from the Auditor General report and from the committee as we are working with the chair, Honorable Committee, demonstrate that the progress is possible when there is leadership, commitment, and administrative discipline and effective oversight. However, Honorable Chairs of Chairs, I want to reiterate to say that as the ANC, we believe in transforming local government into a sphere that is responsive, accountable, and capable, not what Honorable Klute is saying. Hence, we agree with the MEC that the local government is the sphere closest to the people, where service delivery is experienced daily. If the local government works, our communities, they benefit. Therefore, MEC, as the ANC, we say that there should be zero tolerance to incompetence and failures, because this is the experience that our people, they would face each and every day in their lives. Chairs of Chairs, as the ANC, we also support the work that is being done by the department into ensuring that the Marena, they get all the initiatives that are directed to Marena that they previously could not have, that the department is prioritized. The MEC spoke about the repairs that are going to be done in their palaces. And as the ANC, we support every intervention that strengthens municipalities, every resource that delivers the value, every program that improves the lives of our people in all the municipalities that the MEC has mentioned. As the African National Congress, we support those interventions because we believe that there are interventions that are going to assist our people. There are interventions that are going to assist municipalities that are constituted by many people who are not working, who are unable to afford service deliveries, so that the funding and the review of the white paper, so that it must be done, and municipalities, they must be funded according to everyone that deserves water, sanitation, must get those services. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mackay. Did I get it right?
Honourable Chair of Chairs, thanks for pronouncing my surname correct. Fellow MPLs, traditional leaders, and distinguished guests. During these debates, the ANC has finally admitted what residents of the Free State have known for years, that cadre-deployed mayors and speakers have failed. At least 7 municipalities now stand as an open confession of that failure. The admission is long overdue. Chair of Chairs, if the ANC is serious about fixing local government, as Honourable Spegebela has just proclaimed, those same mayors and speakers must be removed with the same energy used to defend them for years. Honourable Chair of Chairs, local municipalities, including the Metro, are in collapse, and all troikas should have been recalled long ago. Unfortunately, this is too little, too late. As there are only 6 months left before the local government election, and this time window dressing won't be tolerated by the residents of this province. However, acknowledging the incompetence, corruption and maladministration is welcomed. Honourable Chair of Chairs, unfortunately, a challenge for the ANC has always been the ability to follow through. In both Mafube and Mokaka, ANC councillors boycotted the council meetings at which the resignations and the new elections were to be tabled. In Moakare, the acting municipal manager, whose appointment the court nullified, has decided to defy the court and remained in office. The mayor, with its MEC's support, is suing his own council. This is arrogance, non-compliance and corruption. ANC, at its best. In Zwelepile, the mayor has been accused of verbal abuse, intimidation and nepotistic appointments, and has claimed the house belonging to Public Works as her own. In Letsimeng, the mayor, by her own admission, does not even reside in the municipality. There are many more horror stories of maladministration, self-enrichment, and corrupt activities by troikas throughout the Free State I could carry on for at least an hour, but my time is limited. So let's be frank, despite the ANC's belated admission of failure in deploying its cadres and its feeble attempt to cite its correction, it has done little to stem the corrupt activities and their impact. The Free State continues to be crippled by a deeply entrenched system of corruption and extraction that has spread across every sphere of government. From provincial departments to local municipalities, what should be institutions that serve the people have instead become structures designed to protect political interests and funnel public money into private hands. This has led to major municipal contracts, infrastructure projects, policies and procurement processes being too often treated as opportunities for enrichment. Behind almost every major deal lies a network of politically connected individuals who benefit while ordinary residents are left without reliable services. Municipalities treat conditional grants as severance packages for willing tenderpreneurs in exchange for patronage donations to the governing party just in time to line the pockets for the election. As of April 26, the Special Investigation Unit has highlighted deeply rooted corruption and financial mismanagement across the Free State municipalities, with more than 1.1 billion in contracts under scrutiny. Investigations revealed widespread irregular procurement, missing tender documents, and total service delivery failures, particularly in water and sanitation. If the governing party allows us to continue unchecked, there will be nothing left to loot. I'm glad to hear the MEC agrees that the department cannot distance itself from the responsibility any longer. It must root out this corruption. To address the crisis, the MEC of Cocta placed 8 Free State municipalities under administration, as he has just stated. However, all 8 have shown strong resistance to these interventions. As stated earlier, it is too little, too late. The ANC has lost control of its deployed cadres and their illicit activities. The results are evident across the Free State, with collapsing municipalities, failing basic service infrastructure, and communities abandoned by the very institutions meant to support them, as acknowledged by the MEC in his speech. The narrative that the municipalities are simply underfunded is used as an excuse. However, this is not entirely true. The money exists. Equitable shares allocations are transferred monthly to help municipalities meet their obligations. Yet they are used to pay salaries because of poor revenue collection, unfunded budgets, outdated indigent registers, and financial mismanagement. Electricity counts remain unpaid, water systems deteriorate, and service delivery continues to collapse. The crisis we face is not due to a lack of resources, but to the diversion of those resources away from the people they are intended to serve. As more intermediaries and politically connected middlemen benefit, communities receive less and less in return. Corruption often hides behind so-called public interest programs and projects, including EPWP initiatives and manipulated payment systems designed to benefit insiders. In the Free State, the SIU has flagged over 362 cases for criminal investigation by the MPA, with over 545 million in contracts deemed invalid. According to the reports of the 2024-25 financial year, these issues include irregular appointments of service providers, failed service delivery, and massive combined unauthorized, irregular, and wasteful expenditure exceeding 9 billion rand. Corruption not only steals money, it also steals dignity, opportunity, and freedom. Cadre deployment of this culture of extraction constitutes a direct assault on the liberties of the communities. As taxes and tariffs rise while services fail, households are forced to pay privately for security, electricity, water, and basic infrastructure. Residents are bearing the brunt of the financial burden of the looted state. But the people of the Free State are not powerless. Every resident has far more power than they may realize. The greatest threat is not only corruption itself, but complacency. The moment residents begin to accept dysfunction and decay as normal, the battle is lost. Liberty is not protected by governments alone. It is protected by ordinary people like you and me, who refuse to stay silent, continue to demand accountability and never stop asking difficult questions. Thus, I stand before you today not to repeat the tired language of service delivery challenges or isolated failures, but to illustrate how the latest blue drop, green drop, and no drop reports have shattered those illusions. The truth is hard to bear. The Free State water system is in a structural decline, and the warning systems are now too large, too consistent, and too interconnected to ignore. The data is clear and damning. The Free State is losing 56.6% of its treated water. More than half of the purified water never reaches the resident. This is not a leak problem. It is a crisis of governance, maintenance, and operational discipline. Our wastewater treatment failures are no longer isolated incidents. Sewage pollution is now systemic in municipalities across the province, driving river degradation, ecological collapse, and escalating health risks to every community downstream. One need only visit Machabeng or right here in Makaka to experience this. They are not alone, however. Many municipalities are not testing, not reporting, or not compliant with basic water safety standards. In some cases, the data simply does not exist. Safer water cannot be claimed without verified data. The report exposes the real crisis, a leadership accountability vacuum. Non-adherence to procedures, aging infrastructure, and maintenance deferred over a decade. Water billing, no ring fencing of water revenue, municipalities unable to pay water boards, and water boards unable to maintain treatment capacity. A high percentage of municipal water department posts are vacant. In the Free State province, fewer than half of the posts are filled. Poor leadership, non-prioritisation of maintenance budgets, and a total absence of consequence management. Vandalism, infrastructure theft, and organised corruption targeting water and energy systems. As my esteemed colleague Dr. Roy Jenkinson highlighted last week, this is not a technical crisis, it is a systemic governance crisis. Leaking portable systems and failing wastewater infrastructure have increased the risk of waterborne diseases. Communities are already experiencing E. coli contamination, algae blooms, chemical pollution, and sewage ingress during pressure drops. Water quality is not just a compliance metric, it is a determinant of public health. Then there are water shortages across the Free State. The water crisis is not just about dry taps. It is about economic survival. Small businesses are reporting significant losses. Schools are sending children home. Operations are shutting down, not for strategic reasons, but because there is nothing in the pipe. In Mangaung, the province economic engine, persistent water stoppages are threatening to collapse the Free State's economic house of cards and trigger a downturn on the scale comparable to the COVID-19 period. Despite full dams, residents and businesses are opening dry taps. Water exists. The infrastructure to deliver it does not. This is a crisis of leadership, not of nature. The cost of inaction is already evident in our rivers, our communities, and our budgets. Municipal debt to water boards now totals around 25 billion across the Free State municipality. This debt weakens bulk supply infrastructure, threatens the entire water chain. Dysfunction in one becomes dysfunction in all. The reports are both a mirror and a map. The mirror is clear, the system is in decline. And the map is equally clear, discipline, competence and maintenance must return to the centre of water governance. The Free State cannot afford another decade of deferred maintenance, unfilled vacancies, unprotected infrastructure and unmonitored compliance. To stabilise the system, the municipality must fix leaks before building new supply infrastructure, ring-fence water and sanitation revenues for operations and maintenance, fill critical technical vacancies with qualified personnel, protect infrastructure from vandalism and organised crime, and remove corrupt, incompetent cadres among public representatives. These are not policy preferences. They are minimum conditions for system survival. Decline is not a destiny, and denial is no longer an option. The DROP report confirms what we have long known. We can turn this around, but only if we confront reality with honesty, competence, and urgency. Water is life. Basic municipal services are a matter of dignity, and transparent, accountable governance is essential. They are now at risk. The clock is running. The decision will be made by you, the residents of this province. I believe you will do the correct thing in the upcoming local government elections on the 4th of November this year, and vote for a competent party with an excellent governance track record that can save the Free State and to deliver the services you need. Go out and vote for the DA. I thank you.
There is a point of order. There is a point of order.
Thank you, Honorable Khwabani.
Some point of order.
Motsamaisi wa dipuisano ke boke dikgomo o marena maholo ke ise hlompho boetapele ba ntlo ya marena ke ise hlompho marena ohle le ho mopremiri a tshwere mokobobo ke dumedise ditho tsa ntlo ya ketsamolao le baetapele ba bomasepala ba kwano ke ise dumediso tsa ka basebetsi ba mmuso le ho setjhaba ka kakaretso ka nako nngwe ho ema mona ho bua ka taba tsa bomasepala wa qakeha hobaneng ba bang ba batho ba entseng mathata ana e re nang le ona e leng hore o sebetsana le ona ka jeno ba batla mona ba fitla ba ema mona ba bua ka hore puso ya ono jwale ha e tsebe ho busa ho voutelwe bona ke mathata hobane pele 1994 batho ba batsho ba ne ba lata metsi dipompong tse ba di kopanetseng ba le hole mme mmuso ona kona o tlisitseng metsi ho batho dijareteng mme le hono jwale tjena ntse re lwana le hore le di-water rights ntse di dutse matsohong a batho ba basweu ba hana ho di tlolokolla mme ke yona ntho ke reng wa makatsa ho dula ho tla mona o tlo bua ka dintho tse leng hore re dutse mona ka baka la dintho tse entsweng ke puso tseo tse ne ba le ho tsona agbare voorsitter ons moet apartheid leer hoe die regering werk. Ons moet onderskei tussen municipaliteit en provinciale regering. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support the budget allocation of this department. The Premier, in her budget vote, acknowledged that the state of our municipalities in the province is not encouraging. She cited, amongst other issues, bedeviling municipalities as poor financial management, weak governance, and inadequate basic service delivery. The MEC has demonstrated through his action that admission necessitated conscious and deliberate action to turn things around. Boetapele bo hlokomela hore bothata bo teng pusong ya bommasepala bo nka boikarabelo mme bo kenya tshebetsong mekgwa e lokileng ho tlisa maemo ka tlasa taolo ke seo letona tataisong ya mopremiri a se entseng ka ho kenya dimasepala tse itseng ka tlasa section 139. Morena Mhlomi once quipped that conscience is the faithful monitor of men. She invariably shows him what his duty is. If he does well, she smiles upon him. If he does evil, she torments him. This inward guide takes us under her guidance when we leave the womb and accompany us until the entrance of the tomb. It is that conscience which drives the MEC of Koktak to act conscientiously in response to the challenging situation, to change it. Let's wallow, Kimudisa Muleu. Koktak plays an important role in building capable developmental state. It achieves that by coordinating interdepartmental efforts, supporting municipalities, and integrating traditional leadership into governance. This budget enables the department to enhance functionality of government to be more effective and is aligned with the development priorities. A developmental state must be able to direct and support economic development through building a strong public service, creating investor-friendly environment, supporting small business development, using state-owned enterprises effectively, and driving strategic investment initiatives. The state needs organizational capacity to ensure that it has the most effective and efficient structures and systems to realize its goal. It has to improve systems and structures within each sphere of government, and the national government has to provide the necessary cohesion to deliver the result needed. In developing effective and efficient systems and structures, COGTA has established intergovernmental structures to facilitate implementation of the district development model, whose primary objective is to ensure government works together and improves communication in districts or metropolitan areas to synchronize the programs and projects of different organs of states through the development of one plan, one district, one budget. Leano la ntshetsopele ya setereke le tlisa moralo o motle o ka ona mmuso ka kakaretso o sebedisa maano a le mang le o bua puo e le nngwe phanong ya ditshebeletso le kahong ya ntshetsopele. Letona le theile dikomiti diterekeng kaofela ho etsa bonnete ba hore hohle ho bana le kopanelo ya tshebetso ho tliseng ditshebeletso setjhabeng. Leano la ntshetsopele ya ditereke ho hloka ho nka karolo ha mafapha ohle ho hokahanya meralo, ho arola mekgahlelo le diprojeke. Mme sena se etsa bonnete ba hore mo ho nang le projeke e tlo etsuwa mafapha bo masipala ba sebetsa ka budget e le nngwe ho etsa bonnete ba hore sena se reriweng se a phethahala, mme o ska bana le sene se etsahala pele sa hore department e budgetela ntho itseng e nngwe le yona budgetela the same thing, mme ho bana le ntho ne ba ibitsa a duplicity. Honorable Chair, one of the systems that are instrumental in diagnosing and treating problems that are bedeviling our municipalities is the municipal support and intervention plan. And I believe that this is one of the problems that honorable members must be taught about. This diagnosing tool that determines cooperative governments in the municipalities, our political situation, the governance state, administrative situation, financial management, and service delivery. We applaud the MEC for promptly reacting to the State of Local Government report, which resulted in the intervention measures that have been resorted to. This was done mainly through Section 139. Motsamaiso dipuisano, masipala ona wa Moqhaka o bile le mathata botsamaising bona bo hloka botsitso. Letona le ile la phakisa ho kena dipakeng ho tlisa motsamaisi ho etsa bonnete hore ditshebeletso ha di sitisehe. Re kgola hore sena se tla lebisa hore lefapha le thuse ka ho sebetsa le masipala hore baahi ba Moqhaka ba fumane ditsha tsa bodulo jwalo ka esa le hloma boroko o kwano. Mme se leng hore ile ikile ya ba mathata letona mona masipaleng ona ho na le ho sabotage meralo ya motheo infrastructure e tshwana le treatment plant mo leng hore no fumana hore ho na le batho ba yang mo morero wa bona ile ho etsa hore ha o lokiswa ba senya mme batho ba dula bana le mathata a ditshebeletso. Nala ile ya hloka botsitso ka nako e telele mme ka jeno ho bonahala khutso ka mora ho kena dipakeng ha letona diphephetso le dikholoso tse teng ka masipala o di tla kginwa ke tshebedisano mmoho ya bohle masipaleng o tshehetsong ya lefapha. Motsamaiso dipuisano ka hara toropo ya Mangaung matlakala a qhalwa ka bomo ke batho ba batlang ho romela molaetsa o fosahetseng wa hore masepala o ha ona bokgoni. Mme sena se bonahetse ka dikoloi tsene di fumanwa di matha di kentse matlakala di fitla di a lahlele dikhoneng ho etsa bonnete ba hore diplastiki di a tabolwa mme matlakala a hasana. Sena ke bopaki ba hore hona le batho ba etsang bonnete ba hore mmuso wa rona ha o tlameha ho sebetsa. Motsamaiso wa dipuisano borena e sale le tshiya ya puso mme re thabela lefapha ha ntse le etsa bonnete ba hore le etsa marena ho etsa bonnete ba hore ba fumana seo ba di hlokang ho di sebedisa. Ha o ka sheba England mane ba sebedisitse more than 32 million pounds sterling ho supporta marena a bona. Le Spain ba sebedisitse more than 152 million rand. Me le rona re tlameha re etse bonnete ba hore ka hohle borena e dula e le seo re itshitlehileng ho sona jwalo ka e le hore ke ona motheo wa puso ya rona. Ke a leboha.
Re a leboha, Honorable Msimanga. Honorable Msimanga, please approach the podium.
Erikinke monyetla ona Chair of Chairs o dumedisa Acting Premier Ntate Jabu ka January Lwane ke dumedise members tsa legislature ke dumedise modula setulo wa ka wa province ya Freistata Gomisa Coach Dipoko ke dumedise marena morena Mremo le Mopedi marena ka kaofela o ya jwalo ka go hlahlamana le ditulo ke be ke dumedise bo majoro le bo half majoro ha o shoro lo tsole majoro ka pa ya pele ka pa mra bo half majoro kaofela ra ba dumedisa jwale e be ke wela gabo ga di utlwa ntate sa ke ntho tse o buang ka tsona mona mara ke batla re dile ka ntho tse simple di basics. If ntate Zama Squibile are 66% ya di residents ke batho ba sa kgoneng ho patala ditshebeletso and le tseba batho ba thola di social grant le tseba hore ka nnete ba iphelela ka tjhelete ya modende why le sa hlakole dikoloto tsa bona? Because this is happening in Western Cape. El sa batlong ho bua ka yona. It's happening. Ba hlakola dikoloto in Western Cape. Dikoloto tsa batho kaofela ha di hlakolwe di masepaleng o qala on a clean slate. And then ke khutle ke etse point ya bobedi ke re ha re bua ka hore batho ba patale dikoloto e tlameha e qale ka provincial government ho patala di masepala pele e lead by example before e ka re batho ho patalwe ha o bua ka operation patala e qala provincial government e nye masepaleng then batho ba tla patala o leader ka example hore batho ba patale jwang wena o hlola ho patala. So you are talking from point ring kia low morality. And then issue engwe ke batlang ho bua ka yona ntate Mokoena mane mohokare ho ntse ho na le mathata.
Honorable member, you must address the presiding officer, not a member directly. Honorable member, don't address a member directly, address a member through the presiding officer.
Noted, Chair of Chairs. Chair of Chairs. Kadi 25, it's 2025. Mane mohokare. Ntate sa ki motlo. Mokoena, sorry. O ile a romela mohlanka wa hae wa lefapha
a ya lo chaira meeting speaker a ntse se le teng sa council ke ipotsa gore na o na apply molao ofe because o guidwa ke section 154 o guidwa ke section 139 o guidwa hape ke section 106 o guidwa ke tse ding tsa di sections re ipotsa gore na ha na etsa o le section 54 subsection 6 e buang ka secondment ebe eo o na ile a lo etsang ha fihla under minor speak hobane hona le element ya cooperation and then you can't come here o bue ka hore you are trying to intervene while the MEC himself ile ena interfere le di processes. And then I will want to go ho batho ba appointuang ke bua ka mohokare hona le MM appointueng through section 54 subsection 6 e buang ka secondment ya Systems Act ha fitla qeta o appointua mo ho thwa lo lokisa situation se movile from bad to worse ho thola every time ho thola di disclaimer di 3 ho ntso thwa intervene and majority of your intervention MEC situation se move from bad to worse. You can name any municipality hona lo molamong ka wa misa ko maluti a phofung a fitla senya abila ipatala le security se sengata wa motlosa wa monka wa mo libisa to another municipality le teng ntse le mathata hona di improvements so ha re romeleng batho be lo re mbaya ka moya wa we intervene eseng batho ba yang ka moya wa o senya le moya wa o luta because di masipala tsa rona re need hore di tswa out of mess e di tholang di le ka hare ho so ke utlwile batho ba bua mo ba bua ka mo metsi a na hlwekile ka teng ka mo metsi bana ba wa thola a ntshwa pompong tse pedi ana la tua pompong tse pedi anda mmuso apartheid mpane le metsi a hlwekileng ne re sina ntwene o dula ka di botlolo tsa metsi a clean batho ba pheya ka metsi a ditshila ma ba dulang teng metsi ana le clean ka ofela so ntho tse ke ntho tse ding tse tlamile di lokiswe hore maemo a be hantle ha re bua ka some of these things ske ra bua mfela hobane re tlamea hore re bua ke batla o tla ka ro maluti a pho ke batla o tla ka ro ho moqhaka as a municipality moqhaka mona wa actua ke fieteng e mo le mo wa acta all section 56 ke di acting mamang section 57 wa actwa mona ke fieta mona ka ra moqhaka empa o re wa lokiswa kana go o re wa lokiswa masipala wa loka kana go maemo a ntsa titibela lo feta half executive mayor wa mona moqhaka o robile koloi ya masipala hangata fela intse chaisa yetsa mehlolwana ka ofela up until chelete leng hore ya bukelle kapa e ba sekoloto sa o lokisa koloi ya ba 2.5 million re emetse nako e lelone le tlo recover chelete o yena le etse consequence management ntse re emetse lona jwale ntate sake mo le applyileng section 106 section 106 a ke bua ka yona ke allowang MEC ura ka investigator mo leng re o belaela hore ditaba di tsamaye ka mogone paetseng le applyile section 106 pipeline ya 27 km ko mohokare le ka jeno le isalo submitwa reporto le itse le lo bula case re ntse re emetse case number le ka jeno ha ibe le serious ka o lokisa maemo a Free State section 106 e applauwe ko nala le ka jeno le ntse re emetse case number ho bontsha hore na a batho ba qeta ho tholwa ba entse bobodu di a bulwa na di case re ntse re emetse case number le ka jeno mare engwe hape re kopang hore etsa hale ntate Mokoena hona le tendency ya lefapha le la khokta ya o undermine marena every time ha o tlamea ho awe policy ya marena e dula e khutlisetswa morao because ha ba nkwe serious empa fela the only time le bankang serious ke le ba dumedisa fela ho tloa mo ya pela le banki serious ke dilemo ntse le re phale isitla awa le ka jenu le intse so ka awa mare tšhelete teng. We don't know why le hloleha o spend time le respecta marena le etse bonnete ba hore phale isi ya mofuta o jwalo e qeteletse ya u. Jwale ntho engwe re batlang ho bua ka yona re le mokga wa economic freedom fighters ke ntho ena ya di title deeds. Every time a re di kgethong le etse ka re le fana ka di title deeds e le hona le campaign ka tsona title deeds ntshang di title deeds ka o fela di community le mona mokhaka ba emetse Kronstadt di title deeds ba batla di title deeds ba kgona hore le bona ba ikutlwe mo ba dulang teng ke ha bo bona ba ikutlwe ke batho jwalo ka batho ba bang ke tsona ntho tse batlehang tseo. Jwale ho santsane ho le jwalo Auditor General ho na le mabutsing di case tse ngata o butse case bo mohokare a tsamalo bula le di case tse ding tse wa di butsing batho be Auditor General a bo buletseng case ntate Saki o ntso banka wa appointa bona o nana ho tla loka jwang ha o nka di sinyi tse leng hore ke tsena Auditor General wa kgona identify hore batho ba senya o nka lo mo appointa hore a lokise masepala. That's why masepala tse di tla khutlela morao without your commitment ya o etsa bonnete ba hore lokisa di masepala tse be di qeteletse di phethahetse di bonahale hore na ke masepala tse hantle tse tlameileng ho tlisa ditshebeletso ho batho ba borona. Ha ke qetela ke batla ho hopotsa hore o empower ke number of sections. MFMA section 71 to section 72 ya o empower hore o thole di report o kgone ho bona mathata bo masepala santsana tla le mane. Section 106 ya o empower hore ka ba investigator mo lo re boshodu bo etsuwa teng. Section 171 to 174 ya MFMA le yona ya o empower hore ka tsamao lo bula di case ye bua le ka di penalties tsa batho be lo reng ba entse boshodu re ka etsa ka mogwa mofuto o jwang. Section 139 le yona e santsane o empower hore na o ka etsa jwang ka some of these things o etsa bonnete ba hore dintho di ba hantle. Section 154 ya o empower hore a hire batho be leng hore maemo a bona le di skills tse banang le tsona di batla di phethahetse empa mona ka ra mokhaka ka mo kutlwa o thutlisitse teacher wa tlisa manager a qualified ho etsa dintho to the expectation ya masepala. So part of our problem is MEC and the Department of Cogta. That's why rena le mathata tjena ka ra Freistata as a whole. So if you are to correct the mistakes that di bonang ka hara province, it should start with the office of the MEC. Then things will start to change. Let's hope it will change for the better. But the way you are approaching these things is not going to help us moving forward. So, ke santsane ke tsholo jwale ke buile a mang a mantswe ao. Ke batla o bua le ka tsena tsa ntho tse. Ha re bua re shebile taba ena na ya di equitable share. Kore the way le sabeng di control systems ka teng in place, you would swear hore tjhelete ya di equitable share ha etla di kara di masepala ke tjhelete leng hore bo majoro le makhanselara le bo MM ka ofela ke tjhelete ya bona di bona so bona motho a tlola hoduma stulo a thabetse tjhelete ya equitable share because ha una di control mo re santsane re bua jwalo re na le mathata a mang ha o thola o checka tjhelete tsa basebetsi tsa di third party di jiwe ntate Saki Mokoena le ka jeno le ntse re emetse re nkwe di action e sale re bula di case ko bo mafube re sale bo mohokare bo kopanong o jwe di tjhelete tsa batho jwale tjhelete santsane tsa maka mmele mona ntho e tsalang ka ra masepala tsa Freistata ha ba sa utswa tjhelete na hele what all deport has to.
Honorable Van Vuren.
Thank you, Chair. This mic has been speeched hot. Honourable Chair, honourable members, the traditional leaders present, guests. When municipalities fail, government fails. But when municipalities fail repeatedly across an entire province, then we must ask the more serious question. Where is the department that is constitutionally mandated to prevent that failure? Honourable Speaker, the Constitution is clear. The department is not a passive observer. It is not an administrative bystander. It is a direct responsibility to support, to guide, to monitor, and when necessary, to intervene decisively. Yet in the Free State, we are seeing the opposite. Even the department itself has acknowledged that 12 out of the 23 municipalities in this province are dysfunctional. But the reality experienced by our communities tells us it is far worse. And the uncomfortable truth is this: municipal collapse in this scale does not happen without failure of oversight from the very department tasked to prevent it. Honourable Chair, at the centre of this collapse is a financial management crisis, and that is precisely where COGTA's role should be most decisive. Most municipalities in the Free State are operating on unfunded budgets. These are budgets that are not credible, not sustainable, and not implementable. Yet they continue to be approved. Where is the intervention from COGTA to stop this? Where is the enforcement of financial discipline? Because without funded budgets, there can be no service delivery, no infrastructure maintenance, and no future of these municipalities. The same applies to revenue collection. Municipalities are failing to bill properly, failing to collect revenue, and failing to manage their finances. Collection rates remain dangerously low, and yet this department has both the tools and the constitutional authority to step in, to guide, and to enforce corrective measures. But that intervention is either too slow, too weak, or simply absent. Honourable Chair, the Auditor General report for 2023-24 confirms the consequences of this failure. Not a single municipality in the Free State, 0 out of 23, achieved a clean audit. Not one. This is not a coincidence. This is what happens when oversight fails. Because audit outcomes do not deteriorate overnight, they deteriorate over time, without intervention, without correction, and without consequence. And that brings us directly back to the responsibility of this department. Nowhere is this more evident than in Mangaung. Mangaung stands as the poorest governed metro municipality in the country. It has a debtors book, people that owes them, of nearly 12 billion rand, and lacks the capacity to collect this debt, while at the same time owing Eskom and the Vaal Central Water Boards billions. Honourable MEC Mokoena, in his speech, said that people should pay for services. He also said that if you can't pay for services, you must register as an indigent. But then we must register these departments as indigents, because they owe Mangaung more than 2 billion rand. So when will they register as indigents? And yet, Honourable Speaker, the solution is not complex. If this municipality, Mangaung, were to collect even a quarter of what is owed to them, that's 12 billion, just 3 billion rand, it could fundamentally change its position. And they should start with the government departments. It could repair infrastructure, maintain roads, fix sewage systems, and restore service, particularly in poorer communities. When I drove here this morning on these roads in Mukaka, I realized that you're not driving on the left here, you're driving on what's left here. It could stabilize existing systems and unlock new development opportunities. And this is not unrealistic. It does not require miracles. It requires proper and strict financial management. Honourable Chair, at the same time, municipalities lack the professional capacity required to function effectively. There is a shortage of engineers, financial experts, and technical personnel, particularly in rural municipalities. There has been a clear exodus of skills from local government, leaving municipalities unable to maintain infrastructure or plan properly. But perhaps the most dangerous, the most damaging issue of all is the absence of accountability. When officials fail, they are not held accountable. They are simply moved within systems. Failure has no consequences, and without consequences, failure becomes permanent. As it is often said, bad governance is not measured by the absence of policies, but by the absence of consequences when those policies are ignored. Honourable Chair, this department has a constitutional obligation to support municipalities, monitor their performance and intervene when necessary. But support without results is meaningless, and oversight without enforcement is ineffective. Section 139 interventions are meant to restore functionality, yet too often they are delayed, ineffective and poorly enforced. I heard the Honourable MEC Rockman talk about municipalities under Section 139 A and C. Perhaps that's the problem, the A and C part of that. At one point, up to 19 municipalities required intervention, and still we see little improvement. So the question is no longer whether intervention exists. The question is whether it is being used effectively. Chair, the Constitution does not give this department an option. It gives it an obligation to ensure that municipalities function, an obligation to ensure that people receive basic services, and an obligation to act, not when it is convenient, but when it is necessary. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Salele.
Ke a leboha modulasetulo wa baduladitulo. E re ke qale pele ke hlompha bahlomphuwa ba teng kaofela. Ke etse kgoeletso ena ho ditho tsa lekgotla la ketsamolao le bana ba etelletseng pele ANC kaofela. Hore mohlomong ho fihlile nako ya hore re tlohelle ho bua sekgowa. Hobane we were also colonized ka sekgowa. Ha re ka ra tlohella ho bua sekgowa, ra bua puo e buang ke batho ba bangata, re tla utlwana. Bahanyapetsi bana ha ba no kgona ho thetsa batho ba rona. E re ke re ko hlomphile motsamaisi wa dipuisano, ke hlompha le tunakgolo e ya Mokobobo, Ntate Jabu Mbalula, ke hlomphe ditho tsa lekgotla la ketsamolao, ke hlomphe bo majoro, batsamaisi ba dipuisano masepaleng, makhanselara ohle a teng mona, baetapele ba ditumelo tse fapaneng, ke se tlhompho ho marena a rona kaofela, ntle le hore ke ba bitse ka mabitso. Ke hlomphe bomme le bontate ba teng kajeno ha o tekwa ditekanyetso tsena tsa lefapha lena la tsamaiso ya makgotla a metse. Baahi, motsamaisi wa dipuisano, ha o batla ho nka matla, ha ona ntho e nepahetseng o e buang ka motho o buang ka ena. Hobane a ke re o batla ho nka matla, jwale dintho tse ntle tse etsahalang o keke wa bua ka tsona, o keke wa rorisa, empa o tlo dula o nyefola jwalo ka ba nyefudi bana ba ketang ho tloha mona ba ntseng ba nyefola. ke ne ke mametse papatso kapa pale ya mme Winnie Mandela. E nngwe ya dintho tsa di buileng moo o re re skebe ra dumella ho jwetswa ke ba neng ba re hatelletse hore re bue ka eng. Hobane mehla ena kaofela ha batla mona ba na le bothata ba hore re ske ra bua ka nalane eo re tswang ho yona, moo batho ba rona ba batsho ba tletseng ka hara ntlo ena kajeno ba phelang ka hara bofuma hobane ba ile ba tingwa monyetla wa hore moruo wa naha ya bona o be matsohong a bona. Ha re tjena hobane re ne re sena boko ka hara mahata a rona. Re tjena hobane lefatshe la rona le ile la nkuwa. Ke ka hona kajeno ha o ya makeisheneng a dibakeng tse tlase, ditoropo tsane tse bitswang ditoropo di sebakeng se hodimo. Ha ho na le dikgohola, batho ba amehang ke ba lekeisheneng hobane batho bao ba beuwe dibakeng tse tlase tse leng hore ho boima haholo hore di ka ntlafatswa. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano, ditekanyetso tsa letona mohlomphehi Ntate Mokoena ke ditekanyetso tseo tjhelete e beuweng bakeng sa ho ntshetsa batho pele di tsebisitsweng ka lebaka la maano a ho fetola maphelo a rona a tlileng ka mokgahlo wa African National Congress. Ha hona o mong mokgahlo o nang le leano la ho fetola maphelo a batho bana ba dutseng mona, ke African National Congress fela. Ditekanyetso tseo ha o di mamela di a amohela hore re na le diphephetso bo masepaleng ba rona, empa diphephetso tseo a se tse weleng ha pula ena ya badiawa di ba teng, empa ke diphephetso tse tswang morao dilemong tse 300 a huileng ha sengwa seriti sa motho ya motsho. Ditekanyetso tseo di a bua hore ho na le ho kenella ho entsweng bo masepaleng ba fokolang ho matlafatsa bo masepala bao. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano, ke tla fosa ha nkekeng ka bua hore rona re le mokgatlo wa ANC ke rona re fileng batho tokelo ya ho ikgethela makhanselara. Le haebe makhanselara a wana le diphoso fela ba kgethuwe ke setjhaba. Ha o tshwane le mehleng ele ya kgale moo ho neng ho na le masepala wa batho ba batsho lekeisheneng, ho na le masepala wa makgowa toropong, masepala wa batho ba batsho wa di-black local authorities o ne o reka ditshebeletso ka tjhelete ya batho ba batsho ho makgowa. Kajeno bo masepala ba kopane ba seva batho kaofela ho sena taba hore na mmala wa hao o jwang, empa tshenyo e re na le yona e kgolo haholo. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano, makhanselara a ANC a kgethuweng ke batho ba tseba hore ba tlameha hore ba kopane le batho sefahleho le sefahleho. Ha ba tshwane le bana ba DA ba buang le batho ka di-WhatsApp. Motsamaisi wa dipuisano, mane Matjhabeng, Ward 16 le Ward 25, batho ba angwe ke dikgohola. Ke ne ke le moo ka seqo. Ward 25 ke ya mosadi wa lekgowa wa DA. Ha le beya leoto la hae moo ho lo bona hore na batho bao ba kgangwang ke metsi ho etsala jwang ka bona. E ne le bona bana ba ANC. Warding e etelletsweng pele ke DA. Now DA tsamaye e lo botsa mosakgowa hore na Hobaneng ha sa ya batho ba kgangwa ke metsi empa e le yena a kgethuweng ka hara lebatowa leo. Mosebetsi wa ka ke o fiela matlakala ana a buuweng mona. Honorable Mokhabelo, ke a utlwa ngwaneso o re ditekanyetso tsena ha di developmental ka sekgowa, ka mantswe a mang ha di ntshetse pele makeishene moo batho ba dulang teng. O re ditekanyo tsena ke tsa ditokiso, maintenance. Now, ke a kgolwa wa tseba he, jwalo ka motho a kileng a sebetsa mmusong, haebe ha o tsebe ke hlalose kajeno hore tjhelete ya masepala diperesente tse 60 e tswa ho tjhelete e patalwang ke batho. Batho bana ba rona bana ba sa sebetseng. Ke ka hona ANC e tlileng ka leano la indigent policy. Mo e reng batho ba sa kgoneng ba ingodise ba fumane 6 kiloliters ya metsi mahala, ba fumane 50 kilowatts ya motlakase. Makhanselara tsa mo ngodisang batho ba sa kgoneng ho etsetsa hore ba fumane metsi le motlakase. Ha o ya mane di masepaleng o sheba dibuka tsa bona, o tla fumana ho na le masepala ba ntseng ba phumula, Honorable Msimanga, dikoloto tsa batho. Fela le ha ba di phumutsi, ha ke re ha o phumula o fitla mo, di ntse di tlo hola hape. Ke ka hona re reng batho ba rona ha ba sena bokgoni ha ba ingodise ho etsetsa hore ba fumane metsi a mahala le motlakase wa mahala. Ha ke batlo bua Honorable Van Vuuren ka ditsela tso reng ha di tsamaye, ha di wa ke tsebe na o bua ka difeng tse sa tsamaeng. Re di retse tje ka ntle hobane re dutse fatshe mo ho na le metsi ya toropong, o tlo kgona ho bona hore na hona jwale ho a tshwana mo locationeng le mane toropong. Taba eo ke nalane eo re tswang ho yona, a se ntho e etsaetseng maobane. Ho patala ha ditshebeletso batho tshwanetse ba patala ditshebeletso, empa ba tla di patala fela ha ba kgona ho di patala. Ke ka hona re reng ha o sa kgone ro fa 6 kiloliter ya metsi, ro fa 50 kilowatts ya motlakase. Di municipal manager le moqhaka ha o sa hirwe ka pele, ko bane ha re batle ho nka batho ba entseng woodwork. Hobane ka nako ya apartheid tsa mo sheba dibuka, di municipal manager ne le batho ba entseng woodwork, ba hirwa ka lebala la bona, e seng ka di-qualifications tsa bona. Ha re ntlafatsa bo masepala, re batla batho be leng hore ba na le tsebo ya mosebetsi o ba tlameileng ba o etse. Jwale ke buile ka yo 25, jwale ke batla ho bua ka hore rona re le baahi re na le mathata a mangata. Re tlile mona ka taba ya di-title deed le Ntate Mokoena le Premier Makhwini Letsoa Mathai. Ra kopana le setjhaba, ra ba hlalosetsa hore o fumane title deed ha monga setsha kapa monga ntlo a hlokahala, family ha e kopane e dumellane hore na setsha seo se ngolwe ka mang kapa ntlo eo e ngolwe ka mang, title deed tla tswa. Jwale ha re ntshe di-title deed hobane ke dikgetho. ANC ke yona e tlileng ka title deed. Mehleng ya apartheid nkgono wa ka ha ngodisa ntlo, o na batluwa monna sena yena. Ha sena monna o na sa kgone ho fumana ntlo. Hona jwale wa e fumana o ntso sena monna, o ntso sena ngwana moshemane. Di-title deed ha re di ntshe hobane le dikgetho. Title deed ke lengolo la molao hore mobu ke wa hao kapa ntlo ke ya hao. O tlameha o latele metjha e itseng ya molao pele title deed ka tswa. Honorable Msimanga ska tlo thetsa setjhaba mona o be o re re ntsha di-title deed ka dikgetho. Re tlo di ntsha beke le beke di-title deed. Re di fa batho bana ba rona ba eleng hore bonkgono le bontate moholo ka jeno ha bana matlo ka baka la hobane mmuso o ba hanya petsi o ile wa ba tima moruo. Le ka jeno batho ba kgwebong ba batho ba batsho ba kolla ntsihanong a se barui hobane moruo wa naha ya rona o ntse o le matsohong a batho ba bangata bao e leng banna ba makgowa ha se ke ra thetswa ha re sebetse mmoho hobane ke ANC fela e nang le leano la hore na mathata ana a re a fumaneng a 300 years re tloa tlosa jwang. Honorable McKay, these people will vote the ANC. They will not vote the DA. So, skata mona, o nahana batho bana ba hesu ke dithoto. Batho bana ba bohlale bana ba dutseng mona, ba kgona ho tlosa oli ho metsi. Ka di 4 tsa November, we have a date. Let's go and vote for the ANC.
The Honorable Mokoena to respond to the debates.
Tsamaiso wa dipuisano ke mpa ke hloka nako fela for bana ba dutseng ka mo bona ke ba hlokela nako ene ke tlo ba araba she Kroonstad tje ka toropo e na le dilemo tse 171 years le teng e shebe ke toropo e kae today 171 years, but they will tell you that in 30 years you will do miracles. That's a lie. Ibal spreader. That's one. Two, that they sang. Nalin 20 repeats and review a white paper on local government. Ibuaka funding formula di maspala, obani di maspala o national di toli di tikanyetso tse lekaneng gore ba ka lokisa mathata a bona. The formula e ne beilwe hodima hore batho ba rona ba tla kgona ho patala mme o na le mathata. That's why re buang le mo speeching gore batho ba ba lefelle ditshebeletso tsa bona. Mara jwale ba ne tsebe di khabisitse tololo. You come and lie. Ka ntho tse ngata mona o thetsa setjhaba and next na nako le wena today ke batla metswalle ye ya hao. Go and read what the law says, including Lurino Section 71 reports di akae. Pele o tla o tlo iketsa tlaone mona re tla o fast ba ka o tlaone ba da re bua ka ntho tse serious. What speaker unsettles me the most, it is a racist undertone of the DA. That unsettles me. How many members that are non-black that we have in this audience? This is I'm not sure, the 5th or the 7th budget that we go to. They are never invited because they don't want their constituencies to hear the truth, as opposed to the lies they say about us. DA is opposing Batwaruna Badula Lori Park because they are settling or putting their shacks next to the White Houses. That's how racist they are. Now, there's nothing you will do. They will never believe your commitment. When you pay a black company, a black contractor, that is corruption to them. Because it's a black company. They forgot that is a black company that has built this tent. They forgot that there are roads here, not far from here. It's a paving set a black company. There are paving roads that are done in Disabe, there are paving roads that are done in Mangau. There are houses that are built and roads that are built by black companies. Paying them is not corruption. If them being black makes it corrupt, then unfortunately I'm proudly corrupt. Because I will support a black company. I will never be told by those who oppressed us that we must never pay our people. Days are gone when you are going to tell us how we must run our freedom and liberation. We are still fighting with the legacy that you guys have befell upon us. Be honest and tell the people the truth. Be honest and tell people the truth. We have defined the legal relationship between COGTA and municipalities. Yet you come here as if I was presenting the budget of municipalities. I'm presenting the budget of a coordinating department called COGTA. We never lied about challenges such as Maspal. We told the truth. Or these are the challenges and this is what we're doing. But you don't want us or lookies. You want to come here and sing about the problems, When you come with solutions, no, they are not enough. So the manner in which we are doing things, I'm awaiting a day to hear when you say non-compliance ki non-compliance as a corruption. Because holona, non-compliance ki corruption because it is a black person. You have never acknowledged any single thing good that we do here. That's why you will not invite your supporters so that they can hear the truth about the things that you say about the black government. You will never. When Ribula Matluka di Kipatsa ANC, you complain. But you come here and attack the ANC because you want these people to vote for you. You destroyed them. You took away their freedom. You abused their forefathers. But to barona busangwanda apartheid. Ne ba nwa metsi di nokene di phofolo le di dibe. Ne ba sa di pompontse ntse di bua. You don't know. You don't know. Because usanzano ja nestam. You've got no clue of where we come from. Don't ever come and tell us about apartheid because we've got no idea where we come from. Let me repeat, our people in farms they were denied to use metsi. Today you come and glorify apartheid. Are you really an economic freedom fighter or are you something else? We must not be fooled. If you want votes, go and campaign honestly. Tell us where we make mistakes, but don't insult our intelligence. That we must never do. That we must never do. I can tell you here, there's no issues that one has got to clarify. We are dealing with the racist undertones here. We have been told that the last 30 years is a failure in a town that has got 171 years. We have been told that the government that is going to meet with the people of Mauken next week after they appoint a mayor to deliver 4,900 sites in Mauken is a failure. Those people never had land. You know why we struggle to build the houses? It's because we never had land. We speak about apartheid spatial planning. Mama Tabo was right. Where our people are settled is a problem. We must fight to go and build in the areas that are right where they live. We need to push that so that we push harder. There's too much comfort for those who are opposed to freedom. They come here and tell you that you must turn against freedom. Look at the lies they tell you. Councillors, if they don't come to the meeting, they call it corruption. What do I have to do as an MEC when a person apologizes or does not turn up to a meeting? Is it really corruption? The standing rules are clear. For the third time, Abasati, Speaker of the Act, the Speaker of Maspala, not MEC, but they come and parade here corruption, because what are they corrupt about? You know, they will never acknowledge the truth. Here in Mukaga, there's a new mayor coming here. There's a new mayor coming in Mafubi. There's a new mayor coming in about 7 municipalities. They say no, it's too little, too late. We must not allow our people to be truthful. I said in Kwakwa Speaker, the attack is on democracy. Let me tell you, their message is well crafted. They come, they tell you, no, you must believe that the ANC has failed. You must desert the ANC, you must vote for the DA. Because Bona, they can lead you better. You, as a black person, can never lead yourself. Because to them, you are foolish enough. We are not capable. That's why there's no single municipal manager they will ever appreciate up until the skin color turns. Like I say, how many of them have we seen? How many? Let me come back to you, Chief. Kokta to build the palaces amare. Once again, don't lie. If I had the time, I will play the record where you are planning to steal Malutiapofu municipality with your friends. I can play it. Don't be hypocritical. The people who destroyed and have created problems in
Honorable Mokoena, please take a seat. Honorable Musango, on what point are you raising? Please take a seat, Honorable Mokoena. On what point are you raising?
Still rules and order. ska MEC a allegation so it has to be done substantively. So you must put a substantive motion at that all over.
If it's not a point of order, please, I'm going to have to overrule you. Sit down. Honorable Mokoena, proceed.
Nnete ya loma. Hangata ba jwalo ba bua mashano, nnete ya loma. There's a place called Moitrai, where our people were told they have been given land without metsi le siwa. 13 of those people ba haile matlo ka hara ditsela. Ludi madi line tsa siwa. This government, it is now battling with batho ba so that bene le tsela bene di tshebeletso for batho ba Moitrai. They called it freedom, I called it distraction and misleading. Peacetime heroes, 2 seconds leaders, who want us to lead. You know, I'm declaring this. In government, we don't work like that. These are the lives of our people. For far too long, they've been played with. We've seen them. One of the best run municipalities in the country was Ekurhuleni. Go and ask who destroyed that municipality. Baba Mbona, they used to run this province in the ANC before Batibel. Today, a lot of things are not developmental. I asked last time, they destroyed. Kokta cannot pay the buildings, I account because we don't owe the buildings. The buildings do own like a provincial government, Kiri ke mo ha tsebe dutwa mmuso wa bohareng o tshwara ditšhelete tsa mafapha a kolotang di masepala we nke we ise ho bona. That is us saying that. You come and say, yeah, let them pay. Here is my question. Can you produce your municipal account that you are paying? You do not even hear that I said, all of you, we must check that you are paying your municipal accounts because you are being paid from the public funds. Thank you very much. Never lie to our people.
The reply by the MEC concludes the business of the House today. Before the House adjourns, I wish to make the following announcement. That honorable members and guests should remain standing as a sergeant of arms, the chair of chairs and the acting secretary leave the House. That the guests should remain at their allocated seats while honorable members leave the House. I'm told the venue is a school hall. That all guests are invited for lunch and ushers will direct everyone on where to go for lunch. The House shall adjourn until Thursday, the 7th of May 2026 at 10 o'clock at Uongaletu Secondary School in Betuli. And the business of the House shall be the consideration of the following budget votes. Vote 5, the Department of Health, and vote 7, the Department of Social Development. The House is adjourned. Baga.